Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decade Andy, and it is the time of year for you to bow down before the power of Santa, or be crushed.
Bow down before the power of Santa.
Or be crushed
by
his jolly boots of doom. You know, it's sad. Some people won't know that.
Yeah, you can all go to hell.
Yeah, the greatest Santa Christmas episode ever.
For the 5 people out there who are clearly dead inside, because I refuse to believe more of you are that dead inside, that is the song from the Invader Zim Christmas special, where he dresses up as a Santa. Gur is his elf, and it introduces Mini Moose, the greatest sidekick known to man.
Yes, and was previously until we got the single movie of Invader Zim. It was the last episode, which was kind of weird. It was the strangest final episode you'd seen because it was, like you said, it introduced Mini Moose, who was as a long-standing cast member, even though he'd never been in the cast before.
Because because he was an idea they wanted to bring in and were never able to, and they were just like, no, we're doing this.
That was the reason. This. Okay.
Yeah. I think Mini Moose was originally conceived back when they had the room with the moose idea.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But they never got to use him, and they wanted to do more with him. So he showed up in the comics, and then he showed up in the movie.
I suppose technically in the comic, in the Christmas episode, it's not a terrible time to introduce him. Moose is a kind of Christmassy-ish.
Yeah, he looks a bit like a reindeer. He could be called an elk.
They're reindeer-like adjacent, you know.
Okay, I'm just Googling. I haven't seen the Netflix film in a couple of years, and was Mini Moose the main antagonist?
No,
because someone's like, the central antagonist of the 2019 Netflix film Invader Zim Emperor of Florpus. I don't remember that.
No, I don't remember. I don't think Mini Moose was the antagonist.
No, Zim was the antagonist.
Yeah,
Zim, because it was Zim. It was just Zim being Zim. That was and it was all about Dib regaining his connection to Zim, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is weird.
The only thing I didn't like about it too much, and it wasn't a massive flaw, was the animation style was very different, which it had to be because animation and how they make it was. It went from hand-drawn stuff to digital stuff at that point, and it was very obvious. I don't begrudge it, but I'm like, it's sad, because I think the hand-drawn stuff looked nicer. Well, it looked more grungy, it looked more appropriate for Invader Zim, instead of the clean look, which it had digitally.
I was always so glad, though, that when it did come back, it was like, oh no, we're doing... We're not reinventing Zim. We're not rebooting Zim. We're just doing a Zim episode, and it's grand.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, it was nice to see. But yeah, this is Mikey. Hello, Mikey. Welcome to the Poopcast.
Hello.
Yeah, we were gonna Poopcast last week, but I was still recovering from being ill. Technically, I was better, but I just on that Saturday I was run down, and I said, Mikey, should we record Sunday? And Mikey was like, I'm dying. Please. Just let my horrible life end. I've got too much work to do. I went, all right, fair enough. We'll just skip this week then.
That was the exact phrasing. Yeah, I'll just be screaming at her, Andy, why? All right, we'll manage it. Why?
It's that thing of why can't I remember the movie where they push an old lady into a oven to burn, and it's like they're doing a reference from Hansel and Gretel.
Oh my god, what is that?
I know they did it on The Simpsons, but I've seen it on other things as well.
I'm sure they have, but there's a movie. You're right, there's a movie with that in it.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. It's not Hansel and Gretel, but it's doing it as a reference to Hansel and Gretel.
I mean, it could still be Hansel and Gretel. I mean,
I've seen remakes.
The horror version of Hansel and Gretel where they absolutely do murder her that way.
Yeah, but then there's also the action version, which had was it Jeremy Renner?
Oh God.
The guy who played Hawkeye. It was a guy that played Hawkeye, and visually they were wearing clothes that looked like they could have been in the same universe as Van Helsing, whatever that one was called.
I remember that. That was just like in kind of his like, I've just gotten attention from being an Avengers, quick hire me phase.
Yeah, and it was such a weird like idea. Like someone said, let's do a Hansel and Gretel movie, but we'll make it actiony. It's like, why? What? I mean,
no, they did the same thing. They did the same thing with Chris Hemsworth and Snow White, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, what was it? The Huntsman? Is that the one?
Yeah.
That was pretty shit as well, to be honest.
My dad likes that movie, and I've never really understood why.
Does he like the sequence where the Queen gets out of the bath of milk? Is that it?
No, he doesn't like the Queen. He likes everything else.
Oh.
And my dad hates fantasy, like, and sci-fi and stuff. He's always telling me, like, I just can't connect with it. It's too unreal. And I'm just hearing him say, like, but you watch that, you like that. And
I was going to say, you should point at him and say, what's this shit then, Dad?
You watch Avatar as well, and you sing the praises of Avatar as a spectacular piece of cinematography. And I'm just like, I don't think it's that great cinematography, to be honest. It's not exactly out of Africa.
Mikey, next time he says that to you, pull up a picture of the Huntsman and say, has senility set in with your mind? What is this? Explain this. Is this reality? Is this a political drama that I don't understand? Don't fight me on this, old man. But yeah, we're back. There's not a lot of Transformers news to talk about, but there's a bit. So it's almost better that we took a break, I suppose. We'll kick off with some crap, or potential crap, from the entertainment Earth, where all entertainment is found, unless there are alien species.
Literally true.
Yeah. Yeah, unless there are aliens who have like... just think alien species will be slowly getting like good TV at some point. And then...
That's the Futurama episode, Andy. I just watched that Futurama episode a couple of days ago.
Yeah, but just think of this. They're getting the good stuff, and like it'll go from the 50s and the 40s stuff, which is like, then it'll hit the eventually the 80s and the 90s where it gets really good, in the early 2000s where, oh, wow. And then it'll hit the 10s, and then they'll be like, oh.
Do I like this? Do I not?
Why is media again? Then the 2020s TV, and they'll be like, "Oh, why is everything terrible now?"
No.
Let's go to Earth and fix it.
They'll make a lot of excuses until they hit Teen Titans Go.
And that's it. That's the cut-off point.
Because like we all know, there's middle opinions on basically everything except Teen Titans Go. No one above the age of 8 likes it.
Yeah.
Even people under the age of 8 don't like it. My niece hates it.
I'm trying to think if that's like if that's untrue, and I'm like, maybe there are people, but I have to imagine it is a limited group, right? It has to be a limited group.
I know people like the movie.
Really?
Which I haven't seen, but I have been toying with because the people said, like, if you hate the show, this is something really fun to watch.
Or just don't watch it. Just watch Teen Titans.
Yeah, but now they're trying, like, they keep doing this fucking tease of just like, we're going to bring back Teen Titans. How are we going to do it? They're going to cross over with Teen Titans Go again.
I remember.
You go to hell. You go to hell and you die.
That's right. Didn't they say at the end of that movie that there was going to be a new Teen Titans show?
I don't remember.
I think there was, but I could be wrong.
Because I haven't seen the movie. I've just seen clips.
I think I watched like the end clip because I heard that was a thing. But again, I can't remember because if that's the case, that movie came out a while ago, didn't it? That wasn't even 2020. God, that was like 2019, maybe. I don't know. It was something like that. Anyway, either way, Entertainment Earth is teaming up and adding 4 plushies. We've got 4 squishy Transformer licensed products. We've got 9 inches, which are $18.99 in terms of US pricage. Which is an Autobot and Decepticon insignias. There's also the 15 inches, which are $37.99, and it's an Optimus Prime head and a Bimblebee face. The Optimus Prime face has been smoothed, shall we say. He's very round rather than Optimus Prime. He doesn't look very happy to be used as a... I imagine this is meant to be a cushion.
He looks like he's seen something and he's like narrowing his eyes and just like, you.
Oh my god. I can see that, yeah. And Bumblebee looks like a sex predator.
A little bit, but to be fair, always has.
He did like Spike a little too much. No.
Anyone who likes Spike too much. Spike was
That's
terrible.
true. What do you think of these cushions, Mikey? Do they inspire you?
Sorry, I'm slightly distracted by like the first comment is by someone who's using Kayson's face as an avatar, and that's disturbing. She's wonderful, but that's just not something I expected to see in my day. But
what should there be a Miko one instead? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just don't like realizing that they've gone enough mainstream that general nerds are now acquiring VTubers. It was our thing for so long.
I like how as well earlier today you were like you wouldn't date Miko.
I wouldn't date Miko. Why would you date Miko? Nothing good will come of that.
Stay home, Mikey.
Yeah, you know why? Because if you go outside with her, something horrible will happen. She can't win at tic-tac-toe, Andy. How does she not win at that?
Could you recast Kathy Bates in Misery
as Miko?
With Miko? Yeah.
I mean,
does that work?
Be a very different film.
You remember how she goes, she hobbles the dude? What if she said, yeah, hello, as she swings the hammer?
Well, that's just Miko Dene.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very different film as well. You just open it and there's this like terrifying mascot who literally is going like, I'm here to kill you. Which is something she literally says.
Oh, I believe it.
But no, these are, I would rather have a Miko Dene plushie. Don't even know if they are a thing than these, because these look really fucking cheap.
They look basic. I've got a Autobot and Decepticon insignia cushion from ages ago, but mine are more like cut out, so they're like fully like these ones like for the Decepticon insignia they've got like extra black around where the points would be, so it's less of the shape and it's more like I don't even like it's not square exactly, but it's more square than it is the insignia shape.
The way I would say it, and it's not literally this, but it feels like these were not made to be these. It feels like they got general shapes and then put these emblems on. The only exception being Bumblebee because of the way his cheeks stick out.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but I can see where, like that statement does work. Yeah, yeah, because the Prime you could probably replace like most of that and turn it into a Kirby or something, basically. Yeah, it's not that, but yeah, I get 100% see where you're coming from there.
If you want a Transformer plushie, there are much better options.
That's the thing. Like, I was thinking as soon as I saw the story, like you and I have both seen like fan creations who make and sell these stuff.
Absolutely, they make fantastic
and they look
stuff.
way better. And you could say, oh well, they're a lot more. And it's like, well, yes, the people that are making these are not actually a factory, so cost, labor, and manufacturing is difficult and strenuous for one person to do versus a company putting these things out.
And again, it is better.
Yeah, they've always been better. The closest we've had to like a decent huggable Optimus Prime is the Softimus Prime, and even that was kind of shite.
I like the one that's got the weird zip mount that's just horrifying. I don't remember what that's called, but
oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah,
I think they had I think it was an Optimus, and that's why it freaked me out.
Why have we never had like a plush version of the Beast Wars cast in like a slightly cheapified form, like as in their animal forms? Because that works. Because you could give any of those animals to anybody, like a fluffy version of T-Rex Megatron, right?
That would cool. Work. Like, again, go to the fans.
And if you're like, oh, it's a dinosaur, it shouldn't be fluffy, you go, you know what you do? You make them out of felt, like the Jurassic Park cuddly animals, which I had a raptor as a kid. It was great.
What do you mean if the dinosaur shouldn't be fluffy? Just drop me in the middle. Actually,
yeah.
Just Andy running off. You brought him on yourself.
No, this is where I pull out my flag, and the flag says, he's here to ruin your childhood.
So, you like otters, eh?
Paleontologists made to ruin dinosaurs. They used to be cool, and they got progressively worse and worse. They have feathers now. Fuck's sake.
So you like hippos?
No one like. Actually, there are people that like hippos.
I had fun when I was teaching recently, and we were doing animals, and it was just like we got on. I don't know how we got onto it, but like different like animals, and everyone was going their favorite animal. I was going like, I like them. Here's a fun fact. Someone said hippos. They're terrible, and I'm judging you for liking them. I said that to a 14-year-old, and you know what? I was right to say it to him.
Did you explain why? Did you just leave it as that?
I said we're spending 5 minutes on this, and we spent 5 minutes explaining why hippos are terrible.
What did they think? Did they say anything about it?
No, because they were doing a project on hippos because they were their favorite animal. They looked very depressed.
Well, they need to know. They can't be like the doughy-eyed person that you generally get. They're like, oh, animals are always innocent, pure, and kind creatures. It's like, no, they are fighting for survival every day, and some of them just happen to be assholes as a species rather than anything else, which the hippo seems to be. The hippo seems to be an asshole species.
Yeah, elephants. I love elephants. I think that elephants should be protected every night. And if you tell me that an elephant's a wonderful, kind, generous thing, I'm doing like,
Yes.
some of them are.
No, yeah.
Not all of them.
No.
There's wonderful footage from the perspective of like me in zoology, like if you're into zoology, of just this elephant that was recorded multiple times stabbing buffalo in the neck.
Oh,
and
God.
lifting them off the ground, shaking them, and then it threw it at a rhino. And then it picked the rhino up and did the same fucking thing.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, you know what? That rhino was minding his own business. That buffalo was minding his own business. This is just this is Stampy. This is Stampy from Simpsons.
Oh my God.
Some animals are, mistreated, and some are just assholes.
I hear as well that there are a lot of, or at least some rural villages in like Africa that actually just get decimated by elephants and stuff, which is like, God.
They get it into their head, like, you can't stop them. That's the thing. Like,
That's
especially
the
like
thing.
if you're like, it's great. We've lived next to this herd of elephants for years, and they're lovely, even-tempered, everything else. That's great. They've moved on, and a new herd moved in, and they are not lovely and even-tempered.
Yeah, they're very, like, fuck you people for no reason. And just, what are you going to do? Shoot us with your guns? You need a really good gun to stop an elephant.
Basically, your two biggest worries in Africa are elephants and honey badgers.
Oh, God.
Which, again, you need a really good gun.
Can you imagine just walking around in Africa like you're out on a safari and you accidentally step on a honey badger?
Oh, no, I can't, because that's not going to end well for you.
But you could, that could be something that just happens, right? You're just walking around, you don't look, and you just stand on something.
This is a real thing. I don't mean to offend anyone from the country I'm about to mention, but American tourists have been found who don't know anything about animals but are on safari, and God love them, they love to touch things.
Yep.
Try to poke honey badgers with sticks and other objects. While and their guide, the native African who has grown up in this world, understands it better than you will in any way, shape, or form if you were there for 100 years, is waving their arms in the back, screaming, "No, no, 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 no!"
Are you sure they're just not running away in the opposite direction? Like, you've made your choice. Done.
No problem now.
I'm out. Bye. I cannot help the ignorant American. This is your fate. I'm sorry.
You have made your choice. I can't save you.
Yep, it's done. It's over.
And usually the honey badger, because it's a honey badger, is either just going to sit there and go like, "Are you fucking insane?" or go for you. And there have been some nasty stories of what happened to Americans over. Like, one guy got it degloved.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean by degloving?
Oh yeah, I've seen degloving accidents in factories and stuff.
Yeah,
that's
for anyone who doesn't know, think about removing a glove, except you're not wearing a glove.
Yeah, it's a good time.
And I would imagine that's being done by something that's about the size of a terrier, has very strong bite, and is unkillable by anything known to man.
Why have we never weaponized the honey badger?
Because Andy, we have weapons treaties. We do not allow the use of mustard gas. We do not allow the use of honey badgers.
Have they ever used a honey badger in like a Godzilla film?
That would be a very strange movie.
Right, wouldn't it?
My God.
Because you could do the whole thing of like Godzilla grabbing a hold of the honey badger by the neck and the honey badger just turning around.
Turn around in its own skin and just oh God.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool as like a monster feature?
They're not something that's done much in like TV Token Monsters or anything like that. Like badgers in general are like way scarier than people give them credit for. But the honey badger.
To be fair, there are a lot of animals that you never hear about, like the pangolin. Like when you see Sandslash in Pokemon, you're like, that's not a real animal. That's one they came up with, and it's like, no, technically, Sandslash is a real animal, right?
Yeah, it's a pangolin. It's a little armored thing with claws.
Yeah, it's literally the evolved form of an armadillo. Right? It's a cooler armadillo. It's like this ain't your daddy's armadillo anymore.
This ain't your daddy's armadillo.
No, this is the 90s armadillo. He's got all the cool spikes and he surfs.
Yeah. We're completely off topic now, but since you just said it, I don't want to go into this and what we did. I somehow have ended up with 3 shiny Pokemon in Sword and Shield. I have never, since 1996, met a single shiny Pokemon.
I think you're doing it deliberately.
I've never gone looking. I've never done anything. I just have met them. And one's a Charizard.
Oh, wow. You can just meet Charizard out in the world?
There's a thing called Max Raid Dens, and if you go into them, sometimes there's like a Gigantamax, the giant... For some of them, they don't have any extra features. They just give them new designs when they go giant.
Oh, okay.
Charizard was one of them. And like you can just meet a Charizard and catch it there. And I was just like, oh, okay. Oh, it's black. Why are you black? Oh, what's the chance of this? Less than 2%.
Is it black to be like, oh, hey, do you remember how in the last game the Charizard could evolve into a super duper black form?
No, the black
mega form?
predates that. The black's been around since Gold and Silver.
Okay.
Charmander and Charmeleon, they're yellow, shiny, but Charizard is black with red wings.
Like if you made Charmander and Charmeleon black as well, I guess that would make sense, and they would look pretty cool instead of them being yellow. Weird. Yellow just sounds like they're sick, right?
Yeah, it's weird. But I always wanted one when I was like big into Pokemon because I like the color better than the orange. But
that's fair,
yeah, and it's my favorite Pokemon. So, but it was just like, hang on. In this game, I've met 3 shinies, caught them all, and now I'm just like, when I tried the whole egg breeding thing to try and get shinies. After 2 hours, I gave up because I can't do this anymore.
Do you think they've technically tweaked the stats then for Pokemon to make it easier?
Maybe, but maybe I'm just like, maybe it's my time. I got the Pokerus thing once years and years ago, and it's supposed to be like a 3 out of 62,000 chance of getting that.
Jesus.
Like, I'm enjoying Fubuki slowly going insane, looking for shinies, but...
Oh, she's doing the shiny. Well, good luck to her.
Shiny only run.
It could be worse. She could be paying money for gacha systems, so, it could be worse.
She does both. And she's been... she's gotten hold of 2 shinies, but for about 3 weeks now, she's been trying to get a shiny Magikarp.
Oh.
It's not going well. Oh. There is literally a product you can buy, which is her I think it's a stand-up of her saying, it's red. It's red. It's red over and over again.
Oh, God.
Because she's gone insane.
Well, the Pokemon gacha system is an unkind one, I guess.
Yeah.
But Mikey, do you want to take us on to our first bit of, proper third-party Transformers news?
Yeah. Hey, Transformers, 22 minutes in.
What's up?
So, proper maybe a bit of a stretch with this one. Mechanic Toy are teaming up with Dr. Wu to make MC03. He is fiendish. To make Little Monster. That is an accurate statement. This is a third-party version, and I think this might be the first third-party version of Revenge of the Fallen Wheelie.
Oh my god, the best Transformer character ever.
With leg-humping action. So this is a great prototype. We just see the vehicle mode, which is the little RC car, and we see the robot mode. The robot mode looks like a simplified version of the movie model. It does seem to have the asymmetrical eyes, so this is post having your face melted by Megan Fox wheelie. The RC car is a little dinky RC car made out of prototype plastic and looks like it is. God love it. It's quite slashed, but I don't know how to feel about this because obviously Mechanic Toy is not a company I'm familiar with in terms of the quality of their product, so I can't tell you, wow, this will look or feel good. And it's Revenge of the Fallen Wheelie, who
is a thing.
Is awful.
Does the sculpt make him look more cartoony than maybe he should be?
Yeah, it's more simplified and more cartoony, especially like the face really.
Yes.
It doesn't it's the wrong proportions as well. It's too big. Do you know what it feels like? It makes him look like E.T., which I'm suddenly realizing is probably the original intent of fucking Wheelie.
Is that why he had Megan Fox's leg?
Probably E.T. Fuck off home. And to I think going simplified. This feels more like it's based off the toy than off the character model. I
was gonna say based more off maybe a comic from a design from Reign of Starscream or one of the designs like that, where it's not quite as angular, maybe, or as CGI, I guess. They've not gone for a realistic look. They've gone for more of a like I said before, a cartoony look. Like you said, more simplified.
Yeah, they've previously done Mohawk from The Last Night.
Oh, did you? I think we said good things about that one, didn't we?
Yeah,
This
not
looks
this one.
worse.
No, not this one, Andy. We did not say good things about this one. Jesus,
No?
that face.
Okay.
Like,
We did say good things about one of them, though.
Yeah,
because
we
did see a bike dude, and we were like, "Oh, he looked neat."
yeah, I remember we did say something nice about a Mohawk, but I do not think we said anything nice about this Mohawk.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
There you go. And they're doing a doctor. They're doing a scalpel, which is...
Oh, yeah, not this one.
Yeah, scalpel's
isn't the one
really
I
hard
thought.
to fuck up, to be blunt. Like, he's a really
Yeah.
simple design. So, yeah, I'm not in love.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's Wheelie, who I think we can easily say neither of us like. I think it's
Does anyone like
RC
I'm sure
truck
someone does.
mode looks good. I guess that looks fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's a little,
I mean-
I think the little dinky truck looks cute, but
Yeah.
I'm like, God, no, I don't want it.
I'm sure there is a market for it. I don't know how big that market is. But if you're after a Wheelie, I guess from Revenge of the Fallen, here he is. I guess.
Yeah. Andy, take us on.
All right, DNA Designs show off the DK31 upgrade kit for the Kingdom Autobot Arc. What do you get in this big old boy set? You get new fully articulated hands so you can finger things and flip the birds and all that jazz. You got leg covers, which basically cover the massive holes in the back of his thighs. The back of his, what's it called? Calves? Calves. The back of his calves, which also in the actual Arc mode cover up the massive holes on the side of the jet. So it's actually more useful for the jet mode than it is for the robot mode, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There's additional turrets, twin turrets, I should say. You get an extra 2. They're not as impressive as you maybe hope they would be. And you also get a command deck backfiller, which I didn't even know it needed. And then I saw the back of the command deck, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a big hollow space. Ugh. So, what do you think of this upgrade set, Mikey? I do think that the fillers definitely help for the back of the leg and for the ship mode. Posable hands, kind of standard. At the
Yeah,
very
the
least,
hands
right?
I'm not so excited about, but
No, I can see why people would want them, though.
Oh yeah, but I think the fillers do help. I think they're more important for the jet mode, for
Yes.
the arc mode. Like I do, like I've said before, I like this figure. I basically feel this is a Cybertron figure that's suddenly appeared in the modern day, and that appeals to me. So giving it more reasons to work. I'm like some of the little fillers I'm not, just because of my nature, I'm not as into. Like the one for the little back of the command center. That's just not something I get excited about. But the hands, like I'm not gonna go. The hands do look way, way better. Because those, for some, whatever it is with the Arc's hands, they're weird.
Yeah, they're thin. I think, and they're weirdly silly. Yeah, there's a certain shape in the way that they pose that doesn't look very good. These ones do look a bit more substantial.
But like the extra guns do very, very little for me, because they do very, very little for the robot, and they're suffering a bit from not matching up the plastic colors, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I think they could have done a little bit of a better job there.
I would agree with that. I think there's probably just general issues sometimes with making the correct color plastic. Like maybe you think, like when you're blending the colors together, you think, oh, this is perfectly colored, and then maybe when you bake it and you make it into the shape it needs to be, maybe there's some kind of color change that happens through chemical woo-woo processes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely.
I don't know. It's weird.
Color matching is very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a big fan of the Arc, which we mentioned before, but I definitely think the most important thing are those leg fillers, just because, again, it helps the actual Arc mode, because I remember in watching Thu's review, and even he commented, like, it was really kind of egregious how big those gaps are for the jet mode, or the Arc mode, and they really stick out to you, so just covering those up helps quite a lot, I would say. The kit apparently should be out in May of next year, so that's actually still pretty long time off, to be honest. So if you want one, save up, I guess, right?
Yep.
Mikey, there were things of the IronFactory variety that you told me
Yes.
about. Not just the big one, but lots of small ones too.
Yes. So. One of these is mislabeled by the news story, and I will correct them. So, because you have made a grave error. So IronFactory, of course, are continuing on their line of teeny tiny peoples who end up not so teeny or tiny these days. And the big one that's garnered attention has been they revealed the prototypes and sort of colored CAD models for Lyokaiser and Leozak. So this is going to be a deluxe-ish heading toward Voyager-sized Lyokaiser. And obviously with a little Leozak to make his chest, and Druga, Drillhorn, or Kill Bison, Drillhorn, Skyhawk, and Hellbat will show up along the way as well. Hopefully we'll have Death Cobra.
I was going to say, we don't see Death Cobra though, do we?
No, but we should. I love Death Cobra. He made no sense and was only there for a gag. So just look at these look really well sculpted and very, very good proportions. Yeah. Especially Leozak. I like Lyokaiser a lot because it's Lyokaiser, but I like how Lyokaiser looks a lot, but I really got to give credit to the Leozak because I think he's come together really strongly.
How did the DJD turn out as a combiner? Were they well received and not fragile, or were there issues there? So the
first release of Tarn and a couple of others were fragile, but what IronFactory did was with the releases for Tesserus and
Helix?
The other two. The guys I can never remember. Helix.
Yeah.
Thank you. The melty guy, the melty guy and the spinny blade guy. They included replacement parts for Tarn and anyone who needed them, and then the DJD combiner ended up turning out like really good.
Okay.
So I always thought that was really decent of them. I thought that was like, okay, that's showing like you're paying attention to your customer base. So I am definitely interested because they did Bruticus as well, and I know people love him.
Which Bruticus? Which version?
Classic G1 Bruticus.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think Leozak especially, like I've seen people talk about that they're not talking about Leozak very often. I really like Leozak. I think he's got really good proportions and a nice sculpt going on. His jet mode looks hilarious because, it's a pair of wings pretending that there's not an entire robot underneath them, but hey ho. I'm liking what I'm seeing with these guys. What about you?
I mean, now I've always been a big fan of the Breast Force from Victory because I had the Rescue Force back in the day, so I've always had a big attachment to them. I mean, the proportions, if the proportions look as good on Lyokaiser as they do in these images, wow, that he's turning out to be a super well-proportioned robot for a combiner.
Little bit super robot.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. He's got very big chunky arms and big chunky legs. I really like visually the look of this quite a lot. And I imagine all of the hands and feet have to be separate pieces. Surely.
I don't know. I'm assuming they are, but like I am noticing like he's got proper built-in elbows. He doesn't have the now like Combiner War style elbows.
Yeah, I saw that as well, which was kind of interesting.
I would not be shocked if those feet were integrated somehow.
I would be shocked, but I'm happy to be surprised.
Oh
at the
yeah,
very least.
Then again, I just think it looked good regardless.
It's a shame that we don't get individual shots of obviously the rest of them. We only really get Leozak in his singular robot mode, but I guess in time we'll see the rest of the other 5. Yes, 5. The other 5 of them.
So this is TFW just ends in Leozak, but there's quite a few other people in this.
Are these new, or are these just more like glamour shots of ones that we've already seen?
CAD models, but we'd seen that group CAD model shot. Remember that?
Yes. Oh, that's right.
This is the first time we're seeing in detail prototypes and stuff like that, and seeing different features. So I'm just gonna go. Some of these I won't spend too much time on, but Lockdown looks very Revenge of the Fallen, G1 style. Comes with the Bushido hat.
Yep.
The Wandering Samurai, you can't see my eyes hat.
Yeah, the straw kind of hat style thing. Yeah.
Yep.
His legs seem very wide, like his hips.
That's because his groin is very wide.
Yeah, maybe a bit too wide.
Because his crotch is basically the grill of the car. Which kind of works with when they're going for the armor in the middle, but like once you see it, it's kind of hard to unsee.
A tad bow-legged, yeah.
Yeah, the face sculpt is great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like that.
A little bit pretty for Lockdown, I suppose, but great.
We also see
Both versions of Drift. So these are the base mold is the movie Drift, and then they've recolored it into G1 Drift. I've never thought that worked.
No, I still don't think it works.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm not a fan of the recolor at all because I just don't think translating it into those colors works. Then we've got kind of like Journey to the West versions of Ironhide and Ratchet.
Sorry, are you sure that's what Ratchet is? Are you sure he's not a Shrine Maiden?
I mean, add a bit more pink, he could be, but
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that stick does not make me think Shrine Maiden. It makes me think Wandering Monk.
I can see that. Yeah.
And Ironhide's got more of a like makes sense, kind of like I'm foot soldier type.
Yeah, he's the big burly foot soldier who carries around the double-handed weapons, but with one in each hand because he's big.
Yeah. Then there's Boomaru Dai Shogun, which is Grimlock done as every samurai, not just a samurai, every samurai, and I'll be honest, that robot mode is amazing.
Die Shogun.
Yeah,
Die Shogun.
Yep. That should be playing when like doing a rotating shot of this. I love that robot mode. It's insane. Yeah, like Grimlock is someone who really translates well into really adding on a lot of armor.
Yeah.
And they've given him like a bit of a super robot thing with the proportions as well to sort of avoid him being too chunky.
Oddly enough, character-wise, if we're going for like feudal Japan, Samurai Lord is not what I'd make him. I'd make him more of, the stereotypical like feudal barbarian who has the loincloth and the big mace. That's the kind of thing I'd make him into, but this works really well, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And the T-Rex mode takes a couple of aesthetic choices from Age of Extinction, like giving him the horns, but for the most part...
I think that's just to make him more regal as well, isn't it?
I think they basically saw that and said, like, oh, this really plays into our aesthetic. And he's got kind of a jeweled tail to make it look more like a scepter. Or like the
I see what you're
ancient Sengoku equivalent of whatever the fuck that... I don't know the name of everything, God.
Yeah, that tail is going to be a weapon that's not shown on the robot. And the bits sticking out the side, which are like blades, sheaths, are clearly meant to be flags or representing flags.
It's weird. I still want to delve into these, but I want to delve into these as like the Magnificent or the Seven Samurai.
That'd be fun, yeah.
Like, just pick out 7 of these and just like, okay, Grimlock's that big guy who was like, oh, I've styled myself up as this really regal, powerful warrior, and then the reality is that he's just like a big nobody who built up his ego, and is actually like he's the one who has to have the character development by developing and caring about people because he's not a samurai. Like, that's how I see this. Like, do you know who it reminds me of? The Samurai. Do you remember The Samurai? You have D-A Samurai.
Oh yeah.
Just like, because that's where that idea comes from. It's the from Seven Samurai, but he dolled himself up as a samurai, and it turned out now he's just like riding on the wave kind of thing. And then at the end of it, he takes the first step towards the true path of the samurai.
Yeah,
watch out, Samurai Jack. But yeah, so those are the Japanese Sengoku era style guys. Next up, this project is not dead. I kind of thought it was. We have new images of the Seeker Girls.
Yeah, God, how long was it since we last saw this?
2-3 years easy. Starwing, Lightning Wing, and Skywing. So obviously these these are Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, but they are not identical.
No, shocking.
They have a molding part. A molding difference. So they are obviously, these are girls in Seeker armor, and the differences are color of each character. And Skywarp has the stereotypical bear ears, or perhaps seal ears, because I just keep on hearing nene, mata nene, kon nene.
It seems like they have different hairstyles as well.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Starscream. I think Starscream's got a different hairstyle, and the other two are just repaints of each other.
I don't know.
So then we've got Pekora. Starscream is Pekora. I actually think that works. And depending on your point of view, a cat or like vaguely doggish, but I'm guessing they went cat girl.
Yeah, so, I think it's probably more Okayu than anything else.
Yeah. So we get to see these. We get to see a bit of the design work, and something I'm kind of impressed with is how they approached the null rays. Because obviously, like, having big cannons on human shoulders would not work aesthetically. What they did was they put them on movable arms that are coming out of the backpack, which I think works really well aesthetically and would probably make a really good function for handling.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah.
And it also means that you can do all this kind of stuff without fecking with the proportions.
Oddly enough, it's very similar to the boat girls from the boat gacha game, whatever that's called.
Oh, Sem something.
You know the one I'm talking about. I don't know.
The one where everyone's a boat and
yes.
you have to play a gacha game.
Aren't there two where everyone's a boat? Aren't there two different
There's an anime
ones?
where everyone's a boat, and then there's the franchise where everyone's a boat.
Okay.
The anime where everyone's a boat is there are boats with AI, and those AI are represented by human projections, which become solid and are fully sentient, and one boat's in love with her captain because, of course. And then there's the franchise, which includes an anime, which is basically just a bunch of armored girls based off of famous battleships like the Bismarck.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, I think these look fun. I hope they're not crazy expensive, but they look like a giggle.
Do you think they'll do an Action Master Thundercracker and give her a face mask?
Please.
There you go. Then Jason would have to buy here as well.
Yeah. Jason's computer is going to eat his money.
Apparently, he doesn't even need to upgrade it. He just does it. It's like,
yeah, I know. He won't
Jason.
stop. It's an addiction. So after this, it gets for the next bit, it's a little bit more boring because we get fairly standard versions of Grapple, Artfire, and Inferno.
Are they meant to be samurai or feudal Japan based?
I think they're meant to, but because Artfire definitely has he's got the kanji on him.
Yeah,
I can't tell which, but
and I think Inferno has a ceremonial staff that has the ribbons on or something.
What this says to me is we wanted to market these alongside the other ones, so we kind of just added a few trimmings.
Yeah, they don't seem to stand out enough to really go with the other ones as well. They have a few more, like you said, extra bits of armor, but they don't really scream the feudal Japan aesthetic like the other ones do. It's weird. It's weird.
Then we've got G1 Prowl, who has some Japanese writing on the side. So
is that just IDW Prowl?
I think it's more like generic Prowl.
Okay.
IDW Prowl is quite chunky. But much more importantly, this is identified in one news story as Ricochet. This is not Ricochet.
I was going to say, that's not Ricochet.
This is, much more interestingly, this is a retool of G1 Prowl into the better Prowl, animated Prowl.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, I see it now.
It's Samurai Armor Prowl.
Right, yeah, of course. I'm an idiot, yeah.
And I like it better, and I love Samurai animated. Jeff Bennett Prowl is a fantastic Prowl. And I now love this toy.
I mean, it is a shame that it isn't a bike, obviously. Yes. But that's fine, because it's, like you said, it's the fully armored samurai version, so he's meant to be more chunky, so that's okay.
You know, the version that sits around and says, I can float things with my mind.
Yeah, he became full Jedi.
Yeah, and they literally treat it like the process over a matter. It's the feckin' force.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And obviously, Prowl's going to be redone into some very G1 style, but still a lot of katakana writing on it.
And yeah, they still don't look like they're part of the feudal Japan era.
But blue streak and smokescreen.
Yep.
And then there is a pretty standard, rather G1-y looking Brawn and Outback.
Yep.
And then we get an image which shows the sort of late stage prototypes for Prowl, Brawn, and Inferno next to some prototypes for a Pipes and a Huffer. And I do think that Huffer and Pipes look good.
Yeah, again, don't fit with the feudal aesthetic, but I don't know. I wonder, are they all meant to mesh together and be this kind of feudal Japanese thing, or do you think they're trying to pull away and make some of them more G1-y but slightly stylized? I can't really tell.
It's weird in a way because it feels like Prowl from Prowl on they want these guys to be released in the same line, which feels more like our G1 stylized line.
Yeah.
Instead of doing we're doing mini masterpieces, we're doing our this is our own take on G1, which thank you IronFactory for remaining my bastion of hope. But also we wanted to all vaguely seem things, so we're going to have some Japanese writing, one or two little affectations. Obviously, this is like there's a lot more figures in this line. We've already seen things like Lio Convoy and Bludgeon and whatnot. But hopefully the QC improved on Bludgeon when they did Banzai-tron, because I'd still love to get a version of that.
Ah, that's right.
But Bludgeon had QC errors.
Yeah.
But hey ho. But no, I think like again, IronFactory, like from the day IronFactory showed up, at the very least they're always thinking outside the box. And
yeah, they're not doing just the G1 version.
Yeah,
which is why I've always liked it.
Yeah, and we've said a million times, like, if the current curse is that no one's thinking outside the box.
Yes.
And then when they do, like I said, they get me what I asked for, not what I wanted. Andy.
Uh-huh.
I'm done with that. Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't think so. I think the only thing is bring back the cute chibi anime girls, like the Windblade and the RC, which they did two molds for, and then didn't really do anything after that, which was a shame.
Yeah, I still want to pick up that. What was some company did a really chibi RC? I think it was a model kit.
Oh,
I don't remember who. Like super like Nendroid style deformed, but it could transform.
Was it the one that its head contained all of the transformation parts? That one. And they did a Nightbird version of it as well.
Yeah, I was looking at the Nightbird one a few months back, and money issue meant I couldn't buy it, but I'd like to try to pick it up at some point.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, do you want to take us on?
Yes, well, this is kind of a Mikey story, but Flametoys, the Furai model kits, are doing an Acidstorm, so obviously an easy repaint or injection mold, I guess, of Starscream. It's green. It's not just one shade of green. They've kind of mixed it up with a few different colors of green in there to not just make it one flat color, which is kind of nice. It's Acidstorm. The price of the kit is going to be $45 US, and it's going to be 15.5 centimeters. Yeah, it's going to be the standard price, which good. And it should be out next year at April.
I'm glad it's not a special release or anything like that.
Yeah, it seems to just be a standard flat release. I don't think. How often do they do like limited edition model kits? Not often.
They've done some.
Okay.
In general, like they end up in stores and aren't particularly expensive afterwards. Like I found like a €10 markup on a few of them.
Oh, that's not
like when
awful,
I got Nemesis. That's how much extra I paid on a standard street price, and he was San Diego exclusive.
Right.
So there was Nemesis and Bug Bite, and the other one of the other Optimus molds got done into a Nemesis as well.
Okay.
I think it might have been G1. Don't quote me. But yeah, so I'm just a little surprised. Like they're re-releasing one of their earlier molds.
I guess it's we could get more out of the Seeker mold. Hasbro do enough.
Yeah. Also, hey COVID, hey delays. Please buy this easy repaint.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you interested in this? Because I don't think you've gone all in on the Seekers.
No,
have you?
Not yet. Not even. I still haven't got the Seeker mold. I wasn't. Well, by the time I was getting doing my like model kit collecting, like we were in the middle of COVID and like trying to find. I might have a Bug-a-Bite pinned down. I might. Depends how this week goes.
Yeah, HLJ still hasn't really fixed their stock issues.
No, none of them have. None of them have because
it's hilarious when HLJ is like, oh yeah, we've got a big sale on Gundam kits going on, and they have no kits.
They cancelled their sale.
Did they? Why did they cancel the sale?
I got an email saying our sale is cancelled, but you can get cheap shipping. It's like, I'm in Ireland, no I can't. But
don't you lie to me, you piece of shit.
So like I would like. I do this, as I said before, I want to eventually be complete on Flametoys model kits, at least mold complete, not like individual complete.
Sure.
So I do want to pick up a Seeker mold. I was aiming for Thundercracker. I do think this guy looks really neat. I like how they got the contrast in the greens. I think I'd still lean toward Thundercracker, but I would definitely have my eye out. Just like, okay, he's not. I'd be more likely to get him than Screamer or Skywarp. He's, like I said, like he's Acidstorm, but they've added in some interesting color choices to make him pop a bit more, which is good. And he's not Sunstorm, who I'm always glad when something isn't Sunstorm. But no, I think he looks good. I'm surprised, to be honest, because when I started Acidstorm, I was like, oh no, monotone green.
Yeah, but they kind of mixed it up. They did something a bit more interesting with it, which is really good. It's good to see that they did something with it.
Yeah, adding in like the sort of like metallic purple as well doesn't help the lilac.
Yes,
doesn't
yeah,
hurt,
agreed.
rather.
It makes him look
Flametoys.
less like a background character.
Yeah, and it's Flametoys, so I fully expect it to be a really fun build. And
I mean,
a really
it'll just be
enjoyable experience.
more Starscream, and I don't think I heard anything bad against
Nope.
Starscream. So
I still haven't heard anything bad about any of them, and I've gone looking.
No.
Like, the worst I've heard is that people don't like the design of Devastator, which,
Oh yeah, even we said that as well. We
Yeah,
said
but I'd still-
because it was
I still
so
want
it's
one.
so not like anything from the rest of the series, which is weird.
And I'd still want one. That's the thing. Like, I've still got one, but because like I've heard it's really fun to build. So anyway,
I may as well take us on to the next bit of news as well, because that was a quickie. We got the Super 7 Super Cyborg Shattered Glass Optimus Prime reveal. So it's basically the Super Cyborg Optimus Prime, which was a big old vinyl piece where you could take off his boob armor and his groin, and it would show you the internal workings. So what's the difference here? Well, it's the Shattered Glass version, so he'd be purple.
people need to stop sending me pictures of this. I get it. I get it, Akane. Ha ha! Stop sending me pictures.
Are people really doing that?
Every time an Optimus, a Shattered Glass, anything comes out, I get like just this. Oh my god! It's an avalanche. Just like, hey, Gridman. Yes, I saw.
Well, here's the thing, Mikey. It's really brave of you that you've been able to accept that you're a fake Akane fan, not buying all of her products.
You go to hell and you die.
You know, it's
go
brave.
to hell
I mean,
and you die.
Jason has yet to accept that he's a fake Akane fan as well, as he has not done the same thing. It's every week you come on and you're able to proudly strut it. Good for you. Good for you. Are you gonna buy this?
No, I'm not, because the Super 7 Super Cyborgs, and they do not appeal to me, even if I think the amount of detail is fun when you take off the chest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's
Are
what
you
a fake
gonna buy
Akane
it?
Fan would say. I'm not a big Akane fan.
Yes, you are.
Not like you two.
You
not
are
like
a
you
huge
and,
Akane
Not like
fan.
you and Jason.
You thought you had nothing but praise for her as a villain.
But I've never bought any of her products.
You never bought anyone's products.
What? What is that? You've never bought anyone's products. He looks on his desk. Great Mazinga
Wave the
Z,
Kit Kat in
Mosquito.
front of the screen.
Firebird, King Jada. Yep, nothing on my desk. Cybuster, nothing. Yeah, I don't know technically if the internal details different. I'm gonna assume it's probably not. Then maybe they've painted it differently. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, it's just a recolor. No real shock there. Expect maybe one day that they do a sleep mode Optimus Prime or an Ultra Magnus, because, Hasbro's done it enough. Don't be shocked. Mikey, I wanted you to do the story because I wanted to give you a gift this Christmas. So, Mikey, tell me about Knockout.
I have such mixed feelings about fucking this.
Is it because it might be shit and it might break?
Be shit. That is why I have because apparently the Primal came out and that was decent.
Right.
But I was so excited for RC, and then everything I heard about her was that she is dire.
Is she the only one that's been bad, or have there been other ones as well?
I've heard that just the plastic QC in general is not, and it doesn't have a nice feel to it. And it's but RC was the greatest criminal in it.
Well, because it actually broke, that would make sense. Yeah.
So we'll go with the least exciting one first. They've got an Ultra Magnus, Transformers Red, by the way. Transformers Red is doing their second repaint, because they repainted Megatron into at least something kind of interesting, which was like Transition Megatron. But it's more interesting than this. Which
everybody loves White Optimus Prime, though, Mikey. Everybody.
I feel like that's quite a loaded sentence to say these days. But I'm a bad person. We all know this. So Ultra Magnus, sporting the Dreamwave version of the color scheme, which is sort of the more classic masterpiece style rather than the classics Chug version.
Okay.
With the teal faceplate and a bit of teal on the crest and something like that.
Okay.
He doesn't come with any new accessories. He has a gun. He has an axe. Blah blah blah.
Does he have a Matrix still? He probably does.
Probably.
Right?
I'm not looking at his boobs. But I'm sure he does. Also, really distracting now, I realize that Optimus didn't have any paint over his chest windows.
Yeah, I know. You didn't notice it originally, but him standing next to the Ultra Magnus, whose boobs are tinted like they're in clear blue, and Prime's are just clear.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
And then...
Yes.
We have Knockout. For anyone who doesn't know, Transformers Prime Knockout is a character from the show Transformer Prime named Knockout.
What a description.
Not a description. And he looks really good.
He
and
does.
He's got great proportions, and the face sculpt is really nice. And he comes with some really solid accessories. He comes with his electric prong. He comes with a drill. He comes with another drill he used in a different episode. The only thing he's missing is the immobilizer or the phase shifter.
I would say this is the first time we've ever got a decent representation of Knockout.
Yeah, no, it's really highlighting the fact that toy is that design is really hard to do. By hard, I mean probably certainly on a retail budget, nearly impossible to do.
Yeah.
It could do with some panel lining, to be blunt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a retail toy, so
and it comes with a saw as well, like lots of good accessories and multiple hands. And looking at this, the only negative is there's some dodgy paintwork on the face.
I'd say the grey plastic could have been done in silver as well to give it a bit more pop, but again, it's not a huge shock that that's not the case.
Yeah, and this looks really cool, and I wish I was more excited about this because I would really, really like a Knockout that looked this good.
You know what the problem is going to be as well, Mikey? By the time you find out it's good, it will be sold out everywhere.
Yeah, you people will buy it, and people are like, "Oh no, it was amazing! Buy it!" And it was like, "You fuckers,
I can't get it now."
Yeah, and but we've given you the legacy one. Oh, good. It's a retool of Jazz from '86,
which technically we haven't seen yet because
it's a retool of Jazz.
It might not be, even though we know it probably will be.
A toy no one liked.
Yeah.
And it will also lead me to so this is costing €5 to €10 less than Jazz. Why? Oh, because Studio Series is an artificially inflated price for the sense of premiumness.
Well, then it's a steal because it's technically cheaper than the Jazz. So
they're also going to be re-releasing bloody G1 RC in the Studio Series and charging €5 to €10 extra for her, and I'm just going to be blinking.
Yeah.
But no one wanted it the first time.
No.
But no, I honestly Knockout looks really good. I just hope he is really good.
Yeah, it'll be disappointing to hear if there are QC issues with him.
They've got him next to, I think that's Voyager Starscream. Yeah.
No.
That's Voyager Starscream because the
one where the back to back is the
Prime.
Oh,
it's the deluxe.
The first edition.
It's the deluxe first edition. So he's about deluxe scale, which is fine.
Which makes sense. It would be weird if he was Voyager scale, to be fair.
And we also see him with Prime, Soundwave, and Shockwave, both excellent toys.
Yes.
I love that Soundwave so much. They're gonna fuck him up, aren't they? They're gonna make a new one, and they're gonna fuck it up because they're gonna make him more G1. And my God, go to hell.
That's why he has to be G1.
You have to be G1.
I know.
Do you have any opinion on Knockout?
Yeah, he looks good like you. I am. No, I mean, I'm less nervous than you are about him because I've had no interest really in the red line generally because I think they look like fairly mediocre action figures for the most part. And that's comparing them not to Japanese action figures or anything else. This is comparing them to other Hasbro action figures, aka the Star Wars Black series, the Marvel stuff, and the G.I. Joe stuff. These do not look like they are as good as those, and they're from the same company. Hopefully Knockout will be better and more on par with those action figures. I guess, again, hope and pray he doesn't explode into dust is the best way to put it, I guess. Shall I take us on, Mikey?
Yep.
Right, upcoming Transformers Legacy and Studio Series, which aren't extra because of the name in terms of the price. Haha. These are product numbers, and we have names to go along with them, I guess. So I'll run down the list, and you can tell me what you think, Mikey. Some of these I'm pretty sure we've heard of. Some of them, maybe not. So we've got Select's Deluxe Guard. Excuse me. We have Deluxe TF6 Ironhide. So Transformers. Which one was 6?
That would just be Bumblebee. That's Bumblebee.
Oh, okay. We got TF6 RC, which we've seen. Ironhide, this is Red Ratchet, right? So we've technically seen. We've got Voyager 86 Junkyard, so the redo of Wreck-Gar. We've got Leader 86 Slug. It's got Dash 12, so I guess it's the 12th one. For some reason, Junkyard didn't get that. Never mind. We got 86 Core Figure Spike. So I guess we're actually going to have a proper action figure, maybe Transformer of the Spike battlesuit?
Maybe.
Would be better than the last one.
Will it come with
that
a
we
face
got.
swap for Daniel?
Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, you pop off the little egg dome and you swap over a head. That could work. At least, like I say, at least it will be better than the one that came with... Fuck, who did he come with?
Bumblebee, Buzzworthy Bumblebee, if I remember right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And that was terrible. We got a Leader Blitzwing. Doesn't really say what that is from, whether it's Legacy or Studio Series. I'm guessing it's Legacy because it doesn't say Studio Series.
I'm trying to figure out how you do, because I'm assuming that this is going to be actually not a Leader Blitzwing, it's a Voyager Plus. I'm just trying to figure out what you'd include with Blitzwing to make him fill out his price point.
Football sign.
Do you know what? If they did Blitzwing, but here's like here's like a little bit of a set and a little figure of that poor football coach.
Yeah.
Or like that kind of stuff.
He comes with a football accessory. He comes with the football coach, and the background is like a cardboard.
Yeah,
there
but he needs he needs a plastic scoreboard. If he comes with a plastic scoreboard that you can put the football into, I will actually buy that because that's fun.
Okay, I think would it be easier to do like the football goalpost? Maybe it'd be better to do the football goalpost so you could like flick the ball over it and have a little game with it. But yeah, there's some. I doubt they do.
Nope,
that,
but they should.
But, yeah, Voyager's Beast Inferno. Yay! Okay.
Yay!
Wait and see.
Wow, I can't wait to see Inferno the fire truck and as like a dog.
I Dino. Thank you forever. We have Voyager Armada Starscream, which I think we heard about ages ago.
I'm curious that just because you don't really have, because factoring in the G1ing of everyone, you don't really have to do anything to Armada Starscream to make him G1.
No, not really.
I mean, they released a figure of him before in a G1 line, and no one
maybe they won't G1 him too much because the Armada designs are already quite blocky.
Yeah, so I mean, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't even have to change his head.
No, not really. There is Deluxe Leader 1. All right. Deluxe Tarantulas. Core Shockwave.
Please let Tarantulas be a retool of Black Arachnia. I want to laugh my ass off
with
at that.
Boobs.
Because there is a
narrative.
You can make a narrative reason for that. You could make a story of that. Because that one time he was in her head. This is what happens if he didn't leave.
Yeah.
Just like, you'll be purple now. I don't want to be painted. You'll be purple.
Yeah, like he takes over her body and just like changes the visuals. So it's like he gets more of the Tarantula's head, and then just paints up the rest of the Black Arachnia body to be Tarantula's colors.
Or you just
I'm so sexy now. It's like
or you just stick Tarantula's head on her body.
Can you imagine him like going up to people and trying to woo them with that voice? It's like, no.
I like to eat people. Do you like to eat people?
I wouldn't mind eating you. It's like,
I don't mean that sexually. I want to kill and devour you.
It would be weird. It'd be very strange. Because Tarantulas does not have what you'd call an alluring voice.
No.
Especially with the cackle. Yeah, the laugh. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some people are into it. I doubt it.
Someone's into everything, Andy.
Yeah, that's true. There's Core G2 Megatron, which will just be a redo of the Megatron, the Core Megatron that's already out. Core Optimus Prime, we already have one, so it's either a re-release or they're going to... I can't imagine they do another one.
I'd be surprised, because I mean, everyone's saying the G2 Megatron is just going to be a repaint of the existing one, so I'm Optimus
it would be weird if that wasn't the case. The reason why I don't know whether they just make a new version of Optimus Prime is because it's Optimus Prime. And they just are willing to make new molds for Optimus Prime all the time. But they could just do an RC to it and just drag him into this new line for no reason. That could be a thing. We've got Core Igneous, which should be new, theoretically. Yep. Skywarp, who will just be a redo of Starscream, obviously, who we've already got. Voyager Soundwave.
That's supposed to be the Prime Soundwave.
Oh, okay. Maybe he'll turn into a flying square like the Studio Series Bumblebee.
Oh, good.
One.
I can't. Or like, oh god, what if he had like like the Prime body, but just like a G1 head at the end of it?
Oh my god, that's so sad. Like he's in full like G1 color scheme as well. It's like oh no,
god.
Like if we look at a hopeful version, which we shouldn't do because of how they've treated the other Prime character so far for the Legacy series, like a Voyager Soundwave. could be quite good. It could add extra stuff that the Deluxe didn't or couldn't do because of its scale. Do I believe they'll do that? Not really.
I mean, like, if you really wanted to go down the make him more G1 route, you could do what RID did and make him the hybrid between the Prime look and the Jeep look.
Which wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. Like, if you did that, but they won't let G1 Soundwave have wheels.
No.
He has to be something that you can pretend is able to be a boombox or a tape deck or a mini disc recorder, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Even though he's now turning into a car. It's like, okay.
And has been for years now.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, I get it, because that's what Soundwave looks like. Soundwave looks like a tape deck.
Yeah.
But he has to. He can't be a tape deck anymore. But he has to look like he can be one.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why we turned him into the big bulky square doom buggy Jeep thing, because ATV, SUV, whatever the fuck he is. Because you can make that big and broad.
Yeah, so you can still look like a boombox in robot mode. There's going to be a Voyager Jahaxis, which I think last time we talked about this, you suggested he'd just be a redo of Armada Starscream.
Scourge was who I was thinking.
Oh, was it Scourge? Oh, okay. I think they could do either, to be honest.
Because he was, like, originally, like, when they did the one in 2013, it was just a retool of Starscream. But I was thinking, looking at pictures of G-Axis's alt mode in the comics, not real. Like, you basically just stick a pair of bat wings onto a Scourge.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think they'll be more creative and go back to the original design, or do you think they'll use the lazy version, which was the redo?
Creative, because, like, that has more white and
I
green
hope
in it.
that.
That would be
I
way more
honestly
interesting.
don't think they will. I think they'll go for the boring orange Jahaxis, which not only visually didn't really look like Jahaxis, but he was just orange. He was just orange, white, and with a tiny bit of black trim, and was visually really shit to look at.
Yeah.
He was a background character color scheme, very much like Acidstorm. But obviously, as we talked about earlier, Flametoys was able to do something interesting with that color scheme.
Make it pop.
And then there's just Deluxe Wild Rider and Deluxe Knockout. Wild Rider, we know.
No, so. You may not.
Hmm?
You may not know Wild Rider.
No? Why? Is it not the Combiner one that's going to be part of the Dinosaur?
Oh, it's going to be Combiner one.
Oh.
New leak came out there about 2 weeks ago.
No.
That is raising some weird questions.
Okay, like what?
So, and this was the leak from one of the guys who leaked the original figure list, which is why people are giving it some weight. Our G1 Combiner may not be a G1 Combiner.
What?
Dinosaur. So, according to the leak, the only one of these member of the Stunticons that is G1 is Dragstrip. The narrative idea is that each part of Dinosaur comes from a different universe.
No.
So, you got G1 Dragstrip.
Okay.
You've got a Dead End who takes cue from the Revenge of the Fallen figure. Which, in my mind, just kind of actually translates more into takes cues from the Cyberverse figure, because that's what they put some of the... Which I really hope it's more like that, because the Revenge of the Fallen figure is a little bike dude. Wild Rider, we don't know yet what he's listed as. Dinosaur will take cues from the 2015 RID design.
Okay. Do you mean Motormaster, sorry?
Motormaster, sorry.
Okay.
And Breakdown will be Prime Breakdown. So he'll be blue. You can imagine some of the board posts already.
I imagine they weren't positive, because that's not exactly... I don't feel like that's what we were sold on.
I mean, let's be honest, I wasn't sold on the idea. I'm actually more interested in this as an idea.
I can tell you the reason I'm not, and I think it's because I'm not sure what they'll do to those designs to try and make them blend together, and I don't think it's going to... And it's not going to make anybody happy. That's the problem as well.
No, it's going to be like, oh, cool, I want, like, new takes, and kind of... It's like you've got new takes fighting to be Generation 1. Which makes you go like, why didn't you just make him Generation 1? But like, I'm certainly more into the concept, and if it leads to an interesting looking design, considering there's only one of those characters I give a shit about, which would be the Prime version, and you're not doing him right. You'll never do him right.
No, especially as a deluxe, because that's what it'd have to be.
Yeah, like the last time you did a deluxe, he was also a combiner, but he was a repaint.
Yeah.
So I would at least be, I'm at least more intrigued, but man, would it be like, it's the easiest thing to fuck up they've ever suggested if this is true.
Yeah, like if you want to do the idea of like each Transformer is a different version of themselves, then why are we making the Prime versions look like G1 versions of themselves? Why wouldn't you get like a team of Stunticons and at least say, okay, all of these Stunticons are from the same universe, so they all match? The idea behind this sounds a bit messy, and like it's not going to really make anyone happy potentially.
Oh, very much so.
This seems like it was a bad. Well, maybe I mean this is like I was thinking about what a thing might or might not be. It might turn out to be really good and really interesting.
I hope it is.
Same, but from the sounds of things, it's like it sounds concerning.
It's one of those things where for me, the concern is I don't know what Legacy is trying to be anymore.
No, well, to be fair, we didn't know what the end of the Prime trilogy was trying to be, and we found out later that was just a mess of extra bits, and maybe that's what Legacy is going to be as well.
Maybe they're buying time.
Yeah, maybe Legacy is just going to be, well, we didn't want to keep Kingdom going on, but we still wanted to do Kingdom stuff, but we also had to do G1 stuff as well. So,
like, if they said to me basically, like, listen, these toys were being designed in the interim between John Warden switching over and us bringing in someone new, I could totally believe that.
Potentially. I mean, who knows? I mean, we'll never know,
yeah.
I don't think, until, like, maybe John Warden's on his deathbed and decides to do an autobiography or something.
Someone rises up behind John Warden, just, like, cuts his throat and just like, your last words will be revealing what happened.
You shall never tell the secrets of Hasbro and Transformers, sir. Never. But yeah, that's all of the leaked news of the leaked figures coming out. Any thoughts there, Mikey? Do you want to take us on?
No. Like, I've said what I had to say, really.
Fair. Take us on.
Yeah, so this is tying into some stuff we reported on a couple of weeks back. For a bit of context, a rumor popped up on Bleeding Cool that IDW is about to lose the Transformers license to someone, and John Warden got the door, or took the door, or a door was taken, and John Barber is not going to be at IDW anymore. And we gave it the appropriate amount of wait. You give a bit of news from Bleeding Cool, which was we mocked it, and then said, I'll wait until someone more reliable says it. And then someone more reliable said it. Hollywood Reporter came out and reported the exact same thing, and they have a lot more clout. So that got me paying attention. Now, I'll talk about the comic thing in a second, but I will also say Bleeding Cool then post we didn't get any credit, and just no, and you won't.
When he said we didn't get any credit, were they talking to you directly?
Hey, we were listening to your show. No, you're terrible. It's just you happen to be right this time. Stop clocking all that. John on Twitter a couple of days ago confirmed that he is done. His final day was December 17th, just a couple of days ago as of this recording. His Twitter, he put it on Twitter, which is something he said, hi all, I'm not much of a poster here, but here's a big update. Tomorrow will be my last days working at IDW. Not Sudden has been planned for a while now. While past couple of years, I won't go through the whole thing, goes through the usual, very polite things of whatever. I think John then got rather surprised by the response he got from people, which was something like 200-300 comments basically saying, oh God, don't leave. We love you.
Yeah,
John, no.
That was pretty good.
Can I want to say something about John in a second, but can I just say, he went through and replied to every single comment.
Oh, wow. Good man.
Every single one. And he, it didn't matter if you were, somebody new or just a fan. And, because John is a classy dude. And he said hi to us and, said hi to Vangelis and everything. So, obviously this is John going, even if they kept the license, is huge. John has been the central point of IDW's Transformers run since 2011. I know someone's going to tell me it's James Roberts, but James didn't edit his own books.
No.
And he wasn't the editor in charge of all Transformers stuff at the time. I said this on Twitter, and I'm going to say it here. The amount of people I see underselling John's contribution to the franchise in the last decade always boggles my mind a little bit.
I think it's because people don't know what editors do, generally speaking. They know what artists do, they know what writers do, but I think this is just generally across the board, not just in comics, but in like all media. There's not a lot of indication or credit given to the role of the editor. Because they're not a big face of it, you know.
Yeah, no, and like when they are, it's usually someone like bloody Dendidio.
Yeah, and you're like,
Dio, whatever you call it. It's just like, who's, you know, when we hear about editors, we hear about those editors who come in and say, like, I don't like this character, make them bad. Or I like this character, make them bad. Yeah, but that's a real thing that happens.
Make them bad.
Yeah. Whereas John was a bit more like, no, this is what a typical very hands-on editor does. Like, you know, they would come up with story ideas. They would work with writers on how to develop those stories. They would veto some ideas. They would okay other ideas. They would read through issues and say, all right, this needs to be changed. This needs to be changed. The flow would work better here. I have seen issues of comics that have been improved by just an editor saying, like, listen, put this page at the end and not the start. Like, and that is, you know, they are where a lot of the bucks stop about for how creatives go. And adding on to that, he is definitely the second most prolific writer we've ever had, and possibly the most prolific. He has a chance to unseat Simon Furman if you did page count.
Wow.
He's done a huge amount of issues. And the fact that you and I both really like his approach to stories, we enjoyed his political dramas. We enjoyed it when he got wild and wacky with stuff like Rom versus Transformers. We give that, I think we gave that like 10 out of 10 back in the day.
I can't imagine why we wouldn't have given it that kind of score.
It was very good, and it was like it took the Magnus idea and did something really interesting. Like, what if there was a guy we didn't know? Yeah. And like Alex's art in that was fantastic. He wrote some of the best crossover material we've ever had. Which, you know, not the best. That is always Devil's Due, but he's written like some fantastic work. James gets a lot of credit for More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, and for the most part, I would say that's deserved up to a point. You and I would have that point, I think, a bit earlier than a lot of people would.
Yeah. Like season 2 is like, oof.
I'll defend season 2 to my dying day because of Megatron. It's Lost Light for me. Lost Light is when I just like, okay.
I think by the end, season 2 was getting to me.
I do remember you had a lot less patience for it than I did back in the day. But like I'm so invested in Autobot Megatron. So,
I mean that was always a really interesting story, definitely. I like the concept of that, and I think it was well played for the most part.
It was just they kept interrupting it with like fake out deaths and
nonsense.
Rewriting Tailgate's character every season, which is something like Tailgate is a different person in season 1 of More Than Meets the Eye, season 2 of More Than Meets the Eye, and in Lost Light. He is 3 different people.
It's character development.
Is it?
No.
And like Nautica got fucking torpedo in Lost Light now. But like people like James is given a lot of credit, and he wrote the most critically acclaimed Transformers book ever written. And that is, you know, except for Last Stand, which he had a part in, but it was mostly Nick. But John was writing an incredibly solid political drama from day one, which had to deal with a lot of the stuff that's really interesting, like how do you get Autobots and Decepticons working together? What do you do when the major figures are gone? How do you deal with those people who are always going to come back and try to make it worse for you? He also had to manage problems that James never had to do, which was like crossovers being shoved into his books. Yeah. God, yeah. And for the most, he did his best. God love him.
I mean, you can only do so much, to be honest, right?
He wrote Sentinel Prime, who in my head is just Futurama's Richard Nixon. So I love Sentinel Prime I didn't like how James wrote Sentinel. He made him too goofy, but John gave him like that like supervillain vibe. Then John went on to write the grounded Optimus on Earth story, and then he wrote the Optimus Prime comic, which you and I loved. Yeah. And like I thought it was incredibly strong. It had the best sound wave we'd had in years. It had Aileron, who I thought really came into her own. It had RC. John developed RC in such a cool way throughout his run. Mm-hmm. And made her incredibly fun and good, and really saved her from the scrap pile she was on.
Don't get me wrong, I preferred Tilala 1 at the time, but...
yes! Tilala 1. Tilala 1 was just fantastic, but that
was
didn't
really
take...
solid. Like, I remember really before solid. John was on Optimus Prime, or... Fuck, what was it called?
RID.
Was it RID? Thank you. Before that, it was the second comic was always kind of, for me, like, ooh, this is the boring Earth stuff where nothing really happens. And that changed, thankfully.
You know, at the you and I have both said many times, like, Optimus Prime, the character, needs to go away because they can't write him well. And then John came in and, like, brought this wonderful new angle to him.
Yeah.
And Shockwave stuff as well in that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What, as we've said, like, John is just sitting there with a board covered in pins saying, like, all will be linked. And, like, that, like, John turned up to the attitude that a lot of editors, like Andy Schmidt when he was an editor, had the attitude that continuity can go out the window, thank you very much. And he said that. John was like, everything matters. You can make anything work if you give it a chance. And talking to the guy, like, it's always been fascinating when I've had the opportunity to just talk to him. Like, he's a really interesting, intelligent guy, and like his approach to story, like the idea of doing all those little side series on the Dinobots, just because like I don't have time for them, but there's super interesting stuff to look into. And like they weren't his strongest work by any stretch of the imagination, but they were still better. Like they were a lot better than the bloody Autocracy stuff that was done as well.
Oh, fuck.
Who wrote Autocracy again? I think it was Flint Dilley.
I just remember. I'm not even sure I read Autocracy. I just remember like pain when I hear Autocracy. I remember no one was happy.
No, and I was just like, oh God, please, someone else touching this. And then John came around like, I could touch on this, and just like, oh, thank Christ. But like, he has been a monumental figure behind the scenes as much as he has been a writer. Like, and talking to him, like, I've learned so much about editing and stuff like that. And like, he came up with Buster, and he came up with Thundercracker and Marissa, the world's best married couple. and again, never argue with me. I'm right. So I don't know if he'll ever hear this. I like to think he might, but I don't know. I just like wish John the absolute best wherever he goes. Like,
Definitely.
As far as I'm concerned, I would say the most important figure in Transformers comics in the last decade.
For a while, yeah, definitely, yeah. I'm happy to back that up as well. Yeah. Influential.
Like we would not have had more than Meets the Eye without him, because it would have never gotten past the first year. I guarantee you. Because someone would have come in and interfered, or some editorial decision would have been made, or some writer decision would have been made that would derailed it. I genuinely believe that.
So you get yourself on the convention circuit now, Andy?
Yes. For the love of God, finally go conventioning. Dude, please.
Yeah.
Like,
John.
Go to TF Nation. Like, let me buy you a beer. Christ, and a bike. I'll send him a timestamp for this. That's what I'll do.
Oh my God.
But I don't want him to listen to the rest of our bullshit. But
so it's just like the important part. I will buy you beer. There you go. Mikey will buy you
come
beer.
To England. I will buy beer. Come to Andy's house. We will both buy beer. We don't drink, but you can have beer.
That's true.
But yeah, so John, wish you well, whatever you're doing. Like, thank you. And I will be starting a reread of his work in the next couple of weeks because of this. Because I want to remind myself, like, this is why I fucking love Transformers when it's good. But that does mean, like, it's very likely that the other rumors are true too. One of which is that IDW is on the way out, and very likely Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment is on the way in.
Probably. It wouldn't be surprising if that was the case, looking at how the lay of the land is at this time, which is fair enough.
Rumor, this is another rumor that Bleeding Cool reported, and then someone reputable reported afterwards. Skybound Entertainment is supposedly in talks with Hasbro to get hold of the Transformers license and G.I. Joe licenses for 2023.
Who are they?
Right, so I had no idea. So I looked into them. Skybound Entertainment, they are a multi-platform company founded by Robert Kirkman and David Alpert. Now, Robert Kirkman, obviously very, very famous comic writer, most well-known for The Walking Dead. A huge Transformers fan.
Oh, really? I didn't know
big Transformers fan.
Wow.
Also
come on the
wrote
podcast.
Invincible.
We'll talk Transformers with you, Robert Kirkman.
If we could get Kirkman
Avid
on.
listener of the Moonbase podcast.
So, Invincible.
Yeah.
Why don't we like it as much?
Yeah, well, I think, yeah. Do you want an actual answer? Because I think it's fine for when it came out. I just don't think it holds up as well now because everyone fucking does that story.
Oh, ain't that the truth? But yeah. So Invincible, everything around Invincible, Walking Dead. Also did Super Dinosaur, which is a weird little comic that got a TV show. I didn't realize.
Really?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
No, it's a weird, basically a T-Rex with robot arms. Who is a superhero?
Hang on, like normal length robot arms or T-Rex like robot length arms?
He has the T-Rex arms, which he are using to control a little panel that controls like punchy hands.
Okay, so he can like pick up things now.
Yes, but like
you can...
I've got to say, Super Dinosaur has to really be seen. It is just a T-Rex as well. It's not like a particularly humanoid T-Rex. So it's a bit weird. The TV show I've never seen because I saw one picture of the animation. It looked atrocious. But this is I remember because I read this comic back when it came out. I didn't realize it was Kirkman. Save image. This is not a very high quality picture, but you'll get the idea. So Skybound owns all these things, but they do not publish all these things. They publish through Image.
Oh, so it'd be an Image comic?
It would be an Image comic under the Skybound imprint.
Oh, that's very cute. That Super Dinosaur.
Yeah. These little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, like he's playing a computer game.
Yeah. So Kirkman apparently would not be writing.
Not Kirkman, but Kirkman. What are you, Ferengi?
Kirkman. Who man? So Kirkman, you're not. Now I've done it. It will be done.
It. Yeah.
Would not be writing it. But obviously under Skybound, it would belong to his company, and so like a lot of people got really excited about this and were just like, oh my god, Walking Dead but with Transformers, Invincible with Transformers, blah blah blah. I would say, looking through his list of comics, Kirkman's written plenty of duds, and so Skybound Entertainment has put out plenty of duds, plenty of wins. Yeah. Certain style, whatever. We can't also judge the tone, like, is it going to be really gritty and dark? Is it going to be kid-friendly, whatever? Because Skybound also publishes some of Image's more age-friendly comics. Okay, so it could be from any demographic. Yeah, they did one called Ultra Mega, which is a terrible Ultraman ripoff. Absolutely atrocious. Do you think maybe it's less to do with Image deciding on what the tone should be, and maybe it's a Hasbro mandate? We say, okay, we're giving you guys a license. This is the kind of tone we want you to go for because we want to push these kind of. At the moment, we want to push these toys. I think that would definitely be some. Like, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I'd have said no. I nowadays I'm a little less convinced that Hasbro isn't going to put a big hand down on top of them. It does feel, I don't know why, but at the moment, from my perspective, it feels like Hasbro really wants its fingers in all the pies at the moment. Yeah. And that's not a good idea. I mean, I do find this slightly ironic, given that the head of Image once gave a talk to comic book shops where he made it a big point. Just basically, the basic point was buy Image comics, and one of his reasons was like, we don't do licensed crap. We do original, meaningful dialogue. And one of the lines he literally said was, G.I. Joe is not comics, Transformers is not comics, X is not comics. I don't remember the other one. But it's just like, oh, the tangled webs we weave. I mean, the comic industry has changed, and not for the better, quite a lot over this. Yeah. I'm sure since that was... I can imagine it's more like hey! We need fucking money desperately. Maybe we could do the old licensed comic there, buddy? Yeah. This is not like... This then makes you wonder, is IDW about to go down the toilet? I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked. Really hope they don't within the next 5 to year, because they've just announced the Power Rangers Godzilla crossover. It might be one of those things where they're trying to cut out as many of the expensive licenses as possible so they can keep afloat, I guess. Yeah. Maybe that's the hope. They've just gotten Godzilla back, so I could definitely see them trying to hold on to that, as long as they can. And I imagine Transformers is quite an expensive property. I imagine generally all of the Hasbro things are quite expensive because you probably have to buy them as a bundle. You probably can't just pick and choose, I guess. It's not doing them any favors, unfortunately, that the sales have tanked since and this is not, I haven't read the fucking books for 2 years now. But the sales have like gone in the toilet for IDW2.
Yeah.
Now I can't, like, people tell me they got better, but whatever about the quality of the book, if the sales are, you can make the best product in the world, and if it is not selling, someone in management will toilet it.
Yeah.
They will flush it away and never return.
Yep.
Because they are out there to make money. So this does sort of mean like 2022 could be a bit empty for Transformer content. Because we might not have the Nickelodeon show until the end of the year. We may not.
We haven't
have
seen
the comics.
anything for it.
Yeah,
so I think we'd be lucky to get it at the end of next year.
The comics will probably disappear at least partway through the year.
Yep.
Because like they're not just going to go like 1 month you've got IDW and the next month you've got the Image.
Oh no, yeah, there'll be a transition period definitely.
Because they need a period where they can do their advertising.
But yeah, well, who knows when they're even going to be able to start legally, like, oh, we can actually start writing the comic now, and we can start drawing the comic now. Who knows how long that period takes before they can even start that shit.
The movie's been moved back a year. So, which I'm not particularly bothered about. But if you're looking at it from the point of the market, like, I think 2022 went from being a pretty profitable year for Hasbro to one that probably a lot of money's disappeared or moved on. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I am curious to see.
Yeah.
I hope IDW2 gets a proper ending as well. I hope they don't, like, and then it ends because they all went to Earth.
Oh, they don't even do it. They just end. It just stops.
Yeah. Because I would, if for the Brian's sake and the sake of all the people who've worked in it, they've put 2-3 years worth of effort into these stories. They deserve to get an ending.
Yes.
Not a. And we're giving a vague thing about the fight will always continue.
But unfortunately, we know that's not, again, how businesses work. Businesses sometimes will just pull the cord and jump out the plane. Yep.
Or press F when they should not press F.
Pay respects.
Yeah. Andy, any further thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I think we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes and how it be and what it do.
Yeah, we're gonna need to think about this one.
Yeah. The last story is a TFCon Toronto 2022 has been announced. If you're wondering, the convention will be on the 8th to the 10th of July. Probably at the usual place, Hilton, Meadowvale, Vale, Mississauga, that place in Toronto. So if you want to go, you can probably get your tickets. The tickets will be going up soon. At least you can book your holidays or whatnot. So there you go. Mikey, what have you been up to this week? What have you done for fun? It's been a while actually since we've chatted.
Yeah, like my last busy week for the next few weeks. So I actually will have time coming up to do things. So I just,
oh my god.
I got a couple of birthday presents, a couple of Christmas presents.
Happy birthday, Mikey. We can say that on the podcast now.
Yeah, Bug Bite, like I said, might be on the way, depending how things go. But so I've got my couple of kits, which is the Unicorn, the SD Unicorn, the night version of the Unicorn, and the Lagaim guy I had. I also got a 30-minute mission kit, which I haven't started building yet. But
wow, which one?
Let me just grab this. The Portanova Yellow. Which is exactly looking fucker.
Yeah, I know the one that you're talking about. Yeah. Have you got any upgrade kits for it?
No, just got the base kit. This was from my sister.
Okay, so, I would definitely recommend when you can get some upgrade kits, because they're on their own, they're just, you'll build it and you'll be like, yeah, this is okay. It's when you get to start messing around with lots of different bits for them that they become a lot more interesting as a concept and as a play kit.
I'm really surprised by how little is in the box.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's kind of the good thing about them. They're cheap.
Yeah.
They're quick to build. They're simple to build.
Well, they're quick for normal people to build. There's also like a ridiculous amount of panel lining.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So I will be here for several days.
That's fair.
It's part of the fun for me. So I'm really looking forward to having a go at that and having some fun. And yeah, like the Lagaim one is still one I'm really interested to get into now. I'm going to have the time coming up because like it's a much older kit than anything I've tried before.
Because there are new Lagaim stuff as well, isn't there?
The new Lagaim stuff is just this is one of them, but it's just it's literally just a re-release of the originals.
Oh, really? Okay.
They changed the paint jobs on them, or the color scheme on them, rather.
I thought they were all brand new, to be
No,
honest.
so did I, before I bought them, and I did a little research, and I was just like, oh, okay.
How old are we talking?
Oh, you're going to love this. 2001.
Oh, God.
But
They look more advanced than 2001,
yeah, that's
though.
the thing. I've heard them get quite good reviews from modern
weird.
reviewers. So, I'm very curious. And obviously, like, the SD Knight is just like an SD Knight unicorn
Sure.
Gundam that you can stick onto the SD Knight Gundam and then make him a horsey man, which makes a bit more sense, I suppose, because he's a unicorn. So yeah, that's that. And like I said, I might be getting a bug bite in the week. We'll see how it goes. But the TV wise, one big thing this week. I'm just going to go quickly through the others. Genlock episode 6 and 7. Nearly done with that. I'm starting to finalize my thoughts on this season, which I'm thinking someone came in with a bit. They've changed writers. They've changed some oversight, and Grey Haddock is in a different position. And when they went to Max, someone said we can do sex and violence now. We're going to go artistic.
Oh.
This feels like a very high concept series, and I think it's probably going to bite them in the ass because it's still watchable, but there's lots of jumping characters, a lot of jumping plots. Something happened. It's really spoilery, so I won't go into it. But something happened in episode 6 to 7 that feels like everyone accepts it really super fast, and no one talks about it. And then it's like, oh, this happened. Oh, they were right. No, they weren't. This was just a 1 in a million chance. Oh well. I was just like, okay. Yeah, I will always love Genlock Season 1. I think Genlock Season 1 is a really fun show. It is also way more real robot meets super robot. This is, we want to do something we can do a sex scene because it's in cyberspace. We can do a sex scene where each person's bodies changes sex throughout. Okay, cool. That's a cool idea. Yes, you can do that, but is that just going to be 5 minutes of a sex scene that you didn't need to have and takes away from actual developing? If you want to talk about the fact these people have fluid gender identities, should you be talking about that more rather than doing a 5-minute sex scene? Because that's something to deal with, because you've built up the idea that maybe this person is gender fluid without realizing it. Or do you want to do a 5-minute sex scene because you have the effects to go boop, and now the person with boobs doesn't have boobs.
Right.
Now this person with a penis has no penis. And yeah, that's how I'm starting to finalize on Genlock Season 2. And just a lot of style, lacking substance.
Okay.
Which is a shame, because like I said,
Would you say it's a step down then from what you were hoping and what you had previously?
I think it's it wanted to be a step sideways. I don't know if I'd say down, because some people are going to love this take. But for me, it is a step down. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's I was really interested. I get that you want to introduce more moral ambiguity and everything else, but you didn't do it in a natural way. You did it by reinventing all your characters.
Right.
So, which makes me slightly concerned, because I'm really hoping Ruby's still with the Rooster Teeth team for next season and not on Max, because that would be concerning if this is the angle they did to Genlock.
Right.
But I would also hope Ruby's popularity means they'd have more of a hold in it.
I mean, maybe. I guess Ruby. It depends on how the deal went down, right?
Yeah. Don't fuck up Ruby. I like Ruby. Let me put it. I like Genlock. I am a Ruby follower and fan, so please don't fuck it up. Because you've done really well so far not doing that in the last 5 years.
For now.
Revice episodes 14 and 15. Turned out that episode 13 started a 3-episode arc.
Oh, okay.
And they just wrapped up big bad guys came this close to winning. But now it's all the bad guys are beaten. Nothing bad will happen. Yeah, quite dark. Still fun, but moving into kind of dealing with the fact that, hey, this is about a cult. And cults sometimes manipulate people's minds for years at end. And they're not a good thing. A lot of action. The latest episode is the first one to have almost all the writers in it. The only one who wasn't there was Evil, and like Kaguro did appear, but Evil, he didn't transform. There's a lot of plot development for what's going on with the bad guys. There's some good action scenes again. I'm just saying it now. If Demons isn't going to be killed in the next couple of episodes, his driver is killing him regardless, so it's going to be a plot point. Like, they've done their Christmas episode and everyone made it out, all the good guys made it out alive, but the Demons driver is clearly killing Hiromi. Like, also he uses Scorpion as a power now, and that's cool because it basically gives him a big tail. They reinvented one of the main characters. One of the main protagonist characters got a big shift that I described as I saw this coming, but I also didn't. How they carried it out. And yeah, this really caught me off guard. Some deaths happened that I saw coming like 10 episodes down the line. I did not see coming now. Okay. And they were plot relevant. I really like Revice, is what I'm trying to say here. I am really enjoying Revice. Way more than I was expecting to. Also, the CGI
has it had that shit moment yet? Would you say?
No. This arc was not the oh shit, Kyria, oh no, God, what? No moment, but more in line with that monster you killed was not a monster.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
In terms of tone, like something else is going on. Like the world is now expanded because other shit is going on. So I would say it's, again, like, for if you were doing a catch-up watch, this would be a good period to go up because, like, it's clearly the end of the first arc. Like, this is going to be a cutoff point, and now we're on to the next story arc. I also found out why Saber failed.
Why was that? Apart from it was not very interesting.
Not very interesting. They got the wrong writer, who they also didn't let write most of the episodes.
What? They got a writer that they didn't let write?
Yeah, he got moved on to other projects, specifically like movies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
So he didn't actually write that many. He supervised a lot of the work, but he didn't write a lot of the stories, which is really weird for writer.
Yeah.
Also, he's the guy who wrote Ghost. That was always a bad idea. But the producer came out. The producer from Sentai, remember her? She came out and said, like, yeah, well, with COVID and everything else, we wanted to make sure that everyone was feeling good, so we decided to make it feel a lot more like a Super Sentai show, so everyone would be happy.
So
because
you've got Super Sentai though. Just have that.
No, and that doesn't always work with Super Sentai either. And then they get laid out the original idea for the show, which was way different. Like,
better.
They had to. Yeah, I like the idea better. It's much more writer. Like they literally, because they changed this like in the first month or 2 months of production, they actually had to refilm the first 4 episodes. Like they had them finished and then they had to refilm them.
Oh no!
Which is one of the reasons those episodes are some of the worst in the show.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons those episodes have a ton of terrible CGI.
Oh yeah. I remember not really being invested because those first episodes were pretty. Well, I think it did like 2. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, because like they did these big CGI scenes because they had to cut out a ton of like. Wow. The idea was like Saber was not inheriting someone else's role. He was not like this likable book nerd kind of guy. He was a wandering swordsman who had been training for years. Which was why he was so good. It wasn't just he picked up a sword and had magic powers.
Well, that would have made sense.
Which is something they do throughout the show. Every time he touches everything, he's perfect.
Oh.
At least I've only seen episode 28. I'm never watching the rest because I don't fucking care.
Mikey, you need to finish every writer series. You told me that at one point.
Oh, I didn't?
I'm pretty sure that's why you watched all of one series, which you hated, wasn't it? Isn't that why you finished Ghost?
I finished Ghost because I had literally nothing else to do.
Okay.
I watched Forza after the show aired because I like people won't shut up about how good the show is, and I'll never.
And they were lying. They were lying.
I will never see what people see in Forza. I won't. I just won't. I'm not. No judgment if you love it, but I can't.
Will. I will judge because you're lying. It's not good. It's poorly written.
Also, a show where they made a major change to what they planned to do because of trying to cheer people up because of something that was going on in the real world.
Just right.
You know what? You didn't do that with Oz and Gaim. You know what shows are really good? Oz and Gaim. and Build and Exade and all those ones. And you know what was really, Double was a great story about friendship and the need to have a really good face actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big thing this week. Hang on one sec. I hate you. Up you go. Go sleep. Okay. Dog.
I was hoping so, to be fair.
Come in. I hate you. Shut up and sleep. But darling, shut up and sleep.
Mikey is a cruel and not gentle lover.
Cover yourself up. I have no interest right now. That's a lie. But the big one this week is due to the fact I decided I will watch. I haven't said this for a Marvel movie in a long time. I will watch Spider-Man No Way Home because, honestly, I am a big Spider-Man fan. I am a big Spider-Man fan. And most Spider-Man media I will give it. I have tried every piece of Spider-Man media. But
even the MTV show.
Yeah, no, what? The writing for that is not bad. The visuals are toilet garbage. But
I actually heard the writing was good, but man, oof, what a look to that show.
Also, the voice acting is occasionally terrible. And by occasion I mean like, oh, I don't like Peter. But so
this was your first try of new Spider-Man. Well, yeah, not really, because you saw him in like the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff.
Because basically the Spider-Man movies hit right as I was just like throwing up my hands and walking away. Mm-hmm. So I've never seen Homecoming. I've never seen Far From Home. I've seen Peter in the Avengers stuff. Basically, I've seen him in Civil War and I've seen him in the Infinity and Endgame. Yeah. Because that was just like, I'm going to watch the end of this like phase of everything. And he came across as like basically a quite young character, and he was never focused. So I think Civil War was the one where he got the most focus, and they brought in a bit of the snark, and I was like, okay, I'm curious. I remember people getting very excited because he could narrow the eyes.
Oh, you mean on the suit? Yeah, I think that was a neat effect. I don't think it really made me go, wow, this is a really good Spider-Man. I was like, that's a neat effect.
But it was like, Spider-Man's eyes move. It's something to do for expression, but it's not something they usually bring into the movies. But I didn't want to watch No Way Home without getting an idea of the characters. So I watched Homecoming today, and I will probably, if I don't watch it tonight, I will watch it tomorrow. I will watch Far From Home. And
that's the second one, isn't it?
That's the second one. That's
I will say people like the second one. I think it's a big step down personally from the first one. I don't like the second one.
Okay. I've no idea. I know there's more CG.
You'll find out tonight, I guess. Maybe.
But so Homecoming, saw it. My opinion is it is above average from where I thought it was going to be, because like I said, I have a low opinion of MCU in this period. This is like right smack dab into the big battles problem popping up, plot problems, villain problems, a lot more problems just piling up and making the whole thing difficult for me to enjoy. I thought this was decent. I thought, like, spoiler, like, for rating, I'd say it's a 6 or a 7, which at the moment for me in the MCU is fucking golden praise, because I don't praise the MCU very much anymore. Like, things I liked about it, I think Tom Holland is very well cast. I think he does a very solid job. I think overall the cast is good.
I think in some ways Tom Holland is well cast. The problem is I think he feels too much like a baby. He doesn't feel like he feels like he's straight out of high school Peter Parker rather than like I don't know, 30-year-old I'm in university animated series Peter Parker.
That's one of my issues with the actual story, but we'll touch on that in a second.
Sure.
I think the action's well done. There's not a huge amount of it, but I think it's well choreographed, and they do some creative stuff with his web slinging and stuff like that. I think Michael Keaton is excellent.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, he's a great
Adrian
Vulture.
Toomes is an excellent villain. They add some extra layers to him.
It's better than him being another businessman owner who just happens to get the technology to suck the life out of people using the tablet of time or something like that.
Yeah, But like one of the biggest problems the MCU has is villains, and one of the biggest tropes they have is I'm the villain, I am this massive hammy way. Like it was terrible in Iron Man 2, it was terrible in Ant-Man, it was terrible in Iron Man 3. It was terrible in so many of those films. And then they do Adrian Toomes, and he's very grounded. He's a much more believable villain. He's not a monster, but he's just incapable of incredible cruelty.
He's a good, solid Spider-Man villain, because he's not trying to destroy the world. He's just like, hey, I want to make money.
Yeah, and he tries to justify it to himself, and then he gets a nice post-credit scene showing like he's more complicated than just a simple like, I'll get you, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Nice way of introducing Matt Gargan as well. Hopefully they do something with him at some point. I don't think they have, but it would be nice if Scorpion came in.
Yeah, as far as I know, they haven't.
I'm honestly more interested in seeing Scorpion than Venom after seeing the 2 Venom movies. They're not good. I don't care if they made money. They're just not good films. Especially the Carnage one. That's just oof.
You saw that?
Yeah, my sister wanted to see it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Woody Harrelson is not a good... That's not the character.
No.
Don't try and make him sympathetic. Don't give him a wife. Don't make him like, oh no, you're killing my wife. Just like, you're a fucking lunatic.
He's a mass serial killer lunatic, like you say. It's like, he's not meant to be nice and kind and relatable.
And Venom kills so many people casually when it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, what he's like, I won't go into it again. But, so... Really strong villain, a great casting as well. Like Michael Keaton, he's a really strong actor.
Yeah,
good action, good pace. I didn't laugh at most of the comedy, but it also, for the most part, wasn't in the way of the story.
No, it's not as egregious as some of the
one bit
Marvel
at the
stuff.
end where Happy's trying to be really sincere, and they do a toilet, like someone's in the toilet listening. That just paused the movie for like 30 seconds that they didn't need to do. But there was one joke halfway through where it was like, where one of the teachers goes, I'm so glad I didn't lose anyone, like I don't want to lose a student. And there was a pause. I'm going to like, oh, I know what you're going to say. And he's like, not again. And I actually laughed because I thought that was really well delivered. I thought like, oh god, how many people have you killed, teacher? Now where it loses marks are things like Peter doesn't feel like a hero. Peter feels like a sidekick.
I'd say Peter doesn't feel like Spider-Man. Everything's given to him. Peter doesn't suffer either. Not really. Peter doesn't suffer like a lot of Spider-Man men.
He doesn't have that. Skipping the origin story is not a bad idea.
No, well, no, because we've seen it so often.
Giving the context of like why he is the way he is a good idea. So why does he want to be a hero with these powers at his age? He's a kid. Like what's his driver? All they do is hint like Aunt May went through some stuff. Also, like, that's something I got really tired of. We get it. Marissa Tomei is very attractive. Please stop having people pause to point it out.
Oh, Mikey, don't worry. They will stop that in the second movie.
Just like,
oh, no, sorry. I'm lying to you. I am lying to you.
Just like, look at this. Aunt May's sexy now. You know what? Aunt May was probably sexy at everything at one point or another.
I don't know. I don't remember the cartoon version of her from the 90s as being very attractive, as she was meant to be like
give her
90. Or even the Tobey Maguire movies where she was
30 years
90s.
From him, and I guarantee you, we're just like, you're probably just like, at some point, every woman of an age was probably very attractive to someone.
Sure, yeah, probably.
That was an atrocious sentence. I apologize to all female listeners and to most of the male ones as well. Not all of them. I'm not apologizing to you, Jason. Not for anything. Not ever. You know what I meant. But he felt incredibly young and naive. Yes. And not just because it's teenage Spider-Man. Like, teenage Spider-Man always feels young, even when, like, it's teenage Spider-Man, but it's Tobey Maguire, who's clearly not a teenager.
It feels like young teen, Spider-Man. Like he's more like he acts more like a 13, 14-year-old rather than like an 18-year-old, which is meant to be.
Yeah, and like they say he's 15 at one point, and I think that's way too young. He should have been 16, 17. If you're going to take that route, he should have been at that age where he's starting to be more mature and able to make those choices on some level.
He doesn't look... The problem is he doesn't look 16 in the movie as well. He just doesn't look it.
No. But he feels incredibly young, and that really hurts the character, because like you said, he doesn't... None of his power, even his own powers, don't feel like they're coming from him. They feel like it's coming from the... Like, he's a sidekick. He feels like Iron Man's sidekick. Yeah. Who's been given his own... Like, okay, this is Iron Man's sidekick who has a spider suit. And, it's he's been around for a few years. We decided to give him his own solo movie. That's what this feels like.
Yeah, he hasn't earned anything. Unfortunately, because his first movie was as Tony Stark's sidekick, it doesn't feel like he earned any of the stuff that he... Even in the movie, by the end, I didn't feel like... Yeah, this was him earning his place he
didn't earn
again
his
he
place,
doesn't
but
suffer.
he does take ownership, at least in the last quarter, which I do think makes him feel more like Spider-Man.
Get ready for this.
Like from the moment where like Toomes threatens him, and it turns out like he snuck his car in, and to the end of that fight, not the event, basically all the MCU stuff does drag the story down, because I think that idea, like, it was the great power, great responsibility idea without saying it. Like, you don't have the suit now, all you have is the power.
Yeah.
And you need to use it. And that, I liked how that played out, but it's still like, it's not enough.
Yeah, again, just how much suffering did Tobey Maguire Spider-Man go through in the first movie? A lot, really.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Holland
well.
doesn't really suffer. Andrew Garfield suffers more, but I think that's because he's a kind of... he was just written in a really shit film, to be fair. So that's more of the bleakness.
Something else I don't like, there is more snark than the Tobey Maguire days, but there is not enough snark. Especially since this is definitely influenced by Ultimate. And one of the things I always liked about Ultimate Spider-Man is that the snark is a fucking weapon. And it's either actually Ultimate, it's more shield. With a main universe Marvel, it's a weapon.
It's meant to throw off the enemy.
Yeah, and it's his way of like, if I make a joke about fear doesn't own me. That's one of the big concepts. And like the classic thing of like, if you're fighting Spider-Man and he's not making a joke, you better fucking run.
He pissed.
Because he pissed. And there's a couple of scenes with it, but I think it's that one place, especially with the MCU these days, that should be a really good way of bringing in humor and snark and all that stuff without taking away from the pace of your story. So that's missing as well. It's something I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man did a lot better, if I'm honest. Now, he didn't have a lot of scenes to do it in, but like the first one he did where the first time he puts on the suit and he's fighting that guy, like the mugger he thinks might be the guy who killed Ben, and he's like, the guy gets out a knife and then like he just drops it. No, not small knives, my only weakness. And then the whole thing is him just like snarking away until he gets serious.
Yeah, the problem, Tobey Maguire couldn't deliver that stuff, unfortunately.
No, poor Tobey Maguire just is not a comedic actor, and not a comedic in that sense. He's good timing, but like oddly enough, Doc Ock did that better in those movies. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But another reason I was kind of interested in what's going on, because they brought back the same actors, and like I may think William Dafoe is vastly overrated outside of Spider-Man.
Lies.
My God, was he good as Green Lantern, as Green Goblin? Because that man can ham up everything. There was also like they wanted you to have this idea that Tony Stark is a father figure, but because they also didn't want to accident they didn't want you thinking this was too much of a Tony movie. As far as we know, Tony has interacted with Peter 3 times.
It's so strange.
But like each time it's like, yeah, I'm your father. I'm yelling. Like I think the like I'm the dad and I'm yelling at you scene is really well done. I think both actors do really good. It just feels unearned because you've talked to this person once in 3 months before now.
Yeah, it's odd.
And there's also, I think it's weird that at the start of the film, it's like Happy's not returning his calls, Happy's not returning his messages, and then suddenly Happy is returning every call he makes, and is being really shitty to him.
Yeah.
And Happy's just like, Happy's not a shitty guy.
He's not meant to be a shitty guy.
No. So that's where it loses marks for me. So I'd say 6. But again, like, for me at the moment, a 6 in the MCU is a fucking miracle. I'll be completely honest. I am going to see Far From Home. What worries me about Far From Home, I've seen trailers and it looks like it's got a lot of MCU CGI bullshit, and it looks like I don't want Spider-Man as someone's mentee. I want Spider-Man as his own guy.
You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
It still feels like Spider-Man's kind of sidekicky. I felt as at least.
Yeah, and it's like,
like I said to you before, I think it's worse than the first one. I think the first one's okay. I don't mind it. I think this one is a step down. The villain, I don't think is nearly as good as. I was going to call him Kevin Bacon. It's not Kevin Bacon. It's Kevin Conroy.
Michael Keaton.
Fuck. Yeah, that
Kevin
guy.
Conroy is Batman, Andy.
Well, Michael Keaton was Batman.
True. He's going to be Batman again, actually.
Yeah. Oh god, that's right. He is. Oh.
Yeah. But it's Mysterio, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, like, cool. Mysterio as a main villain is something I never expected to see in a movie.
He doesn't use little tiny cubes though, which is a shame.
True. Like, I'm trying. Who would I want? Like, if they weren't fighting, if
I
Sony
mean, Matt
weren't gonna fuck it
Gargan,
up,
like you said earlier, Matt Gargan's
Scorpion
not
would
a
be
bad
good.
choice because
Scorpion
that is.
would be good.
It's one of those things where Spider-Man kind of accidentally causes him to become trapped into the Scorpion suit. It means that we also get JJ as a focus because there's a big connection there between him and Matt Gargan.
Yeah,
And I would be okay with that.
yeah.
Because he's the best. He's the best. Like out of every Spider-Man thing, I can't remember his name because I'm shit with names.
Oh no, but
that guy is the best MC universe. Like just out of every comic book character movie, he is the best representation of from comic to film there has been. No, he's better than Tony Stark because Robert Downey Jr. made Tony Stark into him. He wasn't Tony Stark. He made it into him. J.J. Simmons became what's his name? J. Jonah. JJ.
Yeah, and he has been like that. He's been JJ in everything that could afford him, up to including the PS4 game.
Yeah.
Which I'm still slightly annoyed they changed his face into Tom Holland's for the remaster.
Yeah.
PS5 release. Please don't do that. I love that face. Like, best Spider-Man in media, that's Peter Parker anyway. Is that is a fantastic Spider-Man. Or would I say best? Competing with Spectacular for the best Peter Parker.
Yeah, best in recent memory.
Yes. But this is something I found really weird, and I looked it up a little bit afterwards, and I was just like, no, I still don't get this. At the end of the movie, it's revealed the snarky girl is MJ. Okay?
Yeah.
Whose name is Michelle Jones.
Yes.
And I looked it up, and I don't know why her name isn't Mary Jane. And I like, seriously, I like looked it up, and I just... Because I was curious, like, it's weird that you changed their name. Is there a reason for it?
I don't think they wanted to do MJ. Maybe that's the reason.
Maybe, because they, like, Liz Allen is, or Liz, I don't know, she was Liz. She's based on Liz Allen. I don't know if they, like, changed her to Liz Toombs, but she's Liz Allen. She's the main love interest in this, and I do like that goes nowhere in the end, but it's just strange to me that, okay, we're doing MJ, and we're changing her name for some reason. And I mean, I could think of a reason someone would do it, but that reason would be a bit skeevy.
Well, as well, to be fair, we've got Ned instead of Harry, and it's meant to be Harry as his best friend.
Yeah, well, like, Ned's from Ultimate.
Is he? Oh, okay, fair enough then. Okay.
And like, that Ned's from Ultimate Miles, though. Or at least he's a version of Miles' best friend.
Then that's weird.
Because he's in Spider-Verse. He's his roommate in Spider-Verse.
Oh.
Or at least, I don't know if the name's the same, but it's the same character concept, you know?
Did they even name him in Spider-Verse? I don't think they did,
In the extended storyboard version, they give him a lot more time because it's Spider-Verse.
So the answer's no.
No,
in the movie they didn't, but they wanted to.
But you can watch the extended version because Spider-Verse is a piece of art, and they said, like, well, I mean, like, we cut all this stuff, but we voiced it all.
That's really cool.
For it. And like, so yeah, it's like an extra half hour of footage.
Damn.
It's not like animated footage, it's mostly storyboards and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's an incredibly well written movie, and if you want to add an extra half an hour onto it, yes, please.
I mean, the fact that it's acted, I think that's the most. If it was just the storyboards, you'd be like, eh. But the fact that it's voice acted too, it's like, oh damn, okay.
They develop his personality, so he's not based on Harry. He's based off of another Spider-Man character.
Okay.
But it's just weird, and like I said, I could think of a reason people would do it, but that reason would be a bit skeevy, and I'd hope that would not be it because. Okay, that would just be like, especially this day and age, it would be really weird to change her name because, spoilers, she's not a white redhead. So, it's just strange to me. It, like, of all the changes that people make in movies, just like, we want her to be MJ, okay? We don't want her to be that MJ. Are you planning to bring... It's like, does Mary Jane show up as, like, a love rival in Far From Home?
No.
Is that going to be a No Way Home? It's like, oh no... MJ left me. This is MJ.
That's a good question. I wonder if she's in the new one because it won't be Kirsten Dunst. I'd be shocked if it was Kirsten Dunst.
I mean, you could get her.
You could.
Not for like. It would be slightly strange. She came in and I am dating this man. This man is supposed to be 18 years old.
I think Kirsten Dunst came out. I don't know whether it was recently and was shitting on Spider-Man because Tobey Maguire got paid a lot more than she did, and it's like, he's the main actor, and
like,
you weren't.
It's not nice to say this, and this is not what people. It's not like I say because Tobey Maguire was a name then.
Well, no, it's not even that. Consider how much of the movie she was in versus Tobey Maguire. It's like she didn't earn the money. I'm sorry. If you're in 10% of the movie and you expect to be paid the same amount of someone who's in 80% of the movie, that's not how it works.
I mean, she's highlighting it, for a very obvious reason that there is a wee bit of a difference in most businesses still about how people are paid based on whether or not they've got boobs. But also, she wasn't in the movie as much. She wasn't the star, and she wasn't the most bankable star.
That's the thing, yeah. So it's like, these things contribute. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a complicated tapestry where, yes, being a dick does factor into it, but it's not always the only thing that's factored in. Other things can be factored in too. But always be aware that sometimes people are just dicks.
Sure.
As demonstrated by me. But anyway, Spider-Man. 6 out of 10 movie. I've rambled on for 20 minutes. I think that's enough. 6 out of 10 movie. I think I would say watch it. I would definitely say watch it. I'd say it's a fun time. Obviously, everyone who's listening to this, apart from me, has watched it. But
even I've seen it.
Even Andy.
Even Andy, yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to watch Far From Home, and hopefully I'll have No Way Home done in the week, and we'll have a see. Andy, what about you?
What have I been up to? I got DVDs during the DVD sale that was happening recently, so I got Turn A Gundam. I think I talked about this last time, didn't I? I've actually got Turn A Gundam.
You talked to me about it. You haven't talked on here about it.
Okay, well, there we go. I got Turn A Gundam. I got Iron-Blooded Orphans. I got both of those for £20 each for both Part 1 and Part 2. So it's like 52 episodes for about 100 and something episodes for about £40. I'm like, that's fine. I got Konosuba Season 2 and Cowboy Bebop. I got Konosuba free because it was buy one, get one free. So obviously the cheapest one. And I also got... I've got Gundam Wing coming as well on Blu-ray because I was like, yeah, sure, I may as well.
I mean, that is kind of like I have the money and I need to spend it moment, but...
Well, it's more like, because I already have Gundam Wing on DVD, I'm like, I kind of would like, if I'm going to have it, I may as well have it in the best quality I can have it, It's like, yeah. And I don't mind Wing. Wing has issues, but I would say it has better pacing than Turn A as I'm going through it at the moment. Cause...
I'm enjoying... Well, I think Turn A is weirdly more logical, but I'm enjoying the podcast at the moment, which is we're reviewing Gundam Wing episode by episode, and they're highlighting some crazy shit.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Gundam Wing's got some problems, but I think it's a better paced and more interesting show than Turn A. Turn A's got a lot of issues to it. It has a great premise, and it's a great idea behind it, and I like the setting a lot. But man, it goes slow. I'm on to like episode 28 or something at the moment. So Queen Diana has met up with Lieutenant Harry and Kielheim. Is that her name?
I don't remember.
They've met back up together and she's playing her body double now. And it seems, I think Lieutenant Philip has tried to seize control of the military at that point. And we had the awful episode where the nukes were discovered, and one of the Moon Race characters had two of them was running away from the female pilot who's lost multiple times and cries every time she loses, and she starts shooting at the suit that is carrying the two nuclear warheads, and I cannot fathom how completely stupid you need to be as a character to do something like that, because it's not like she's one of the Earthers who don't know what nukes are. She knows what it is, and yet she's still firing, and she goes, "Oh,
is that the one in the she rides around in the
She usually in the Wodoms.
Wodom, thank you.
She's usually in that.
She's a really super racist one.
Yes, and she loses all the time and cries every single time about it.
Yeah.
She's a terrible character.
She's crying because she's like, I'm better than you. Why can I beat you? And just like, because he's in a super robot.
It's not even that. It's because she's really shit. She's just shit.
Yeah. Like, if you're losing in a Wodom, and the Wodoms are the size of, like, skyscrapers.
2 Gundams. Yeah. It's 2 Gundams tall.
I mean, at 28, you don't know what the Turn A is yet, do you? You don't know, like,
no.
Oh, no, this thing will fuck you the fuck up.
Yeah, so I know kind of what the Turn A is, because obviously I played, like, other games, and it references it for the most part as this, like, end of world kind of Gundam, but we don't know that at the moment.
That the Turn A does get really powerful in this.
It feels like if that's the case, it seems like it'll come out of nowhere for the most part.
It will come out of
not,
nowhere.
Yeah, because it's not super powerful.
And at the end of it, they won't say it because it's Tomoe.
Sure.
There will be a piece of media, a book written that says the Turn A was operating at about 10% of power by the end of the show.
Of course it was.
Basically, fucking retcons.
Yeah. So it's basically doing a Goku.
Yeah. No,
I want to test myself.
The thing is that Goku did have more in the tank. Technically, we've never seen that the Turn A had more in the tank. We just know that we just are told it has more than the tank.
Oh, sorry. When you say it was only running at 10%, you didn't mean it was holding itself back. You mean it was just operating at 10%. Well, I thought you meant like the computer inside was like, no, I want a challenge. I'm going to restrain myself.
Well, it's like the way it's explained is that yes, Turn A was literally holding itself back because it is secretly alive.
Okay, I thought it must be.
But it's also like, in the show, you never know it's technically alive, and you never know it's holding back.
It's still more, yeah.
Yeah, because the guy is more concerned about trying to erase the idea of multiple universes than he is being fully coherent. But,
yes, because the Zaku's are in there, but the Zaku's are in there for no reason. You could literally replace the Zaku's with anything else, and it wouldn't matter.
It's the Wing flashbacks that amuse me.
I haven't seen any of them just yet.
No, you will have seen one. You know, your man, the crazy guy they pull out of storage.
The crazy guy they pull out of storage.
Yeah. You sent me a picture of him. I can't remember his name.
You mean Corin?
Yes.
Corin Nader? Yeah.
Yeah, like he has a flash. Like this is like in the first time he sees Turn A. There's a 2-second scene where you see Wing.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because if that came up, it must have been even faster than 2 seconds because I didn't clock it.
But because like this was Tomoe saying like it's all connected. No, it's not.
And how would he know about Wing?
Because he was there, Andy. He was He was a Leo pilot.
Was he?
He was a Leo pilot. Surely you recognize him as a standard Leo pilot.
No, because no Leo pilot from Oz looked like that, and that would mean he's tens of thousands of years old.
Yeah, he was in storage for tens of thousands of years.
Where?
Or however long Turn A. Like
left on the moon by Oz, I guess.
Yeah, because. Also, like, at this stage, like, they were, like, this was Tomoe saying it was all the same universe. So, like, the whole, this whole Black Century thing was every universe merging and spitting out the Turn A timeline. That was added afterwards, again, alongside the stuff that led Turn A. Turn A is, like, this isn't any spoilers for the show, but Turn A is now like, oh my god, it's so fucking terrifying because it's basically an apocalypse maiden that every 10,000 years wipes out humanity. So it is, you know what? It's Getter Emperor.
Oh, okay.
The Getter Emperor. Like it's just going around the universe, wiping out universes, and like it's supposed to have been whatever happened to merge into timelines thousands of years in the future. Right. It's Turn A's fault. Turn A and Turn X's.
Of course.
But none of that will be in the show.
Well, why would it be?
Because that would be interesting. If you're going to pull a bullshit like we're all the same universe and you have that idea. What do you think of, like, because it's a big controversial part of it at this stage. What's the designs of the robots? Because
I don't mind them. Like some of the designs I don't think are very good. Like the Flats designs I think are pretty shit. Their ability is to vibrate. I'm like, ooh, wow. I can see why someone would make that. I like the Wodoms. I think the Wodoms are a great design. I think the Sumos are a really good design as well.
I like Sumos.
I like the Kapools because they're shit, effectively. Yeah. And they are shit. They don't do anything. They have yet to have a successful engagement, even though all the pilots, all two of the pilots in them, are very pumped about how good they are.
Yeah.
They've discovered some red mobile armors, but we haven't really seen them in action where I'm up to at this point. And I've always loved the Turn X. It's my favorite design from the show.
What about the A?
The Turn A. Oh, at first I didn't like it a lot, but this was long ago when I first saw it in like Dynasty Warriors Gundam. I think it's a good design. It's an interesting design.
You can tell it was from someone who wasn't a standard Gundam designer.
Yes, it's it's barely Gundam related at all, but I'm not against that. I think it makes it unique, and in a series where everything looks like Optimus Prime, it's nice to have something that looks more like Optimus Primal, I guess.
Yeah.
Or Rodimus Prime is probably a better example. So they're like I say, the Flats I think are just outright shit. I think the anti-personnel robot units, I'm not a big fan of their design, but that's about it so far.
What about the music? Because this is something when I was watching it, it was driving me nuts.
It's so out of place. It's actually just generally across the board not very good. It doesn't capture like Wing. Like even if you don't like the story of Wing, yeah, like there are loads of different tracks which are just good and they stick in your mind and they're good. Even the more like the instrumental ones where it's not like an action scene. Where it's just like the whistle like at the beginning of each episode talking about the pilots going down to Earth. That was always very iconic. This has like no iconic music apart from the Turn A Turn song at the beginning. Apart from that, everything feels really out of place. Doesn't feel like it's part of the setting, and it feels like it kind of hampers a lot of the emotional. Well, I don't think they know how to do emotional impact in Turn A a lot of the time, but the music definitely nerfs it. If anything, it's really bad.
Big, what was his name? Idiot boy who died, who I hate.
Andy.
No, in the show.
Which one?
What was his name? The guy, he was being manipulated by his weird space girlfriend. And he's like, I'm descended from your one ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, it's Will Geim or something.
Will. I hate Will.
Like that. Yeah, Will was an idiot.
Will, but like they kill Will, and the music's so happy. I was just like, maybe this was made by me because maybe the show's glad to see the back of him too.
Yeah, I've said this to you a few times. The way that they edit shots is actually just scenes is pretty bad. Like there's no explanation for some things. Like in the first episode, the jump of I guess 2 years or more between Loran getting to Earth and Loran being of age to do the ceremony. Visually, you can't really tell. A scene ends and a scene begins, and I think someone offhandedly says, "Oh, you could go and do the ceremony now," but they never outright say it's been 2 year gap. And there's a lot of these things where a scene is playing along and it hard cuts, and you're like, "What's happening here?" With Will, it's Loran sees these two arms poking out from the cockpit, and he goes, "He died." And I'm like, how did he die? There's no indication of how he died. Previously, we saw the mech he was in have its arm blown up, its head blown up, and its other arm blown up. And that was it. And then it hard cuts, and he's dead. And there's how is he dead? We don't know. He's just dead, apparently. Just take our word for it. He's probably exploded into lots of bits, which is why his arms are poking out through the gaps in the cockpit. How? The cockpit's taken no damage. No damage. It's like, okay, fair enough. Doesn't make sense.
He got shaken.
I guess, that's the only thing, but that I could only imagine, like, if the white doll just picked it up and shook it like a baby, and he just turned into, like, a blended meat paste. No. That would be the only way that I could see it happen.
When he died, I realized that a lot of characters in the show... Like, again, I'm saying this as someone who actually likes the show, but it's fun to be critical. When he died, I realized that... up until now, we were supposed to have the idea that a lot of soldiers on both sides have been killed. But the music's so happy and cheerful all the time that I really had assumed this was a completely bloodless war.
That's the thing, because the show keeps promoting that this isn't a war. Like we can't be fighting each other. We're going to have negotiations. It feels like the amount of troops each side have lost. If this was Tomino is meant to be like, this is real, this is how people would act. If this many people had died on each side, it would just be all-out war. It would just be full-out war, and the militia would lose. The militia literally only have the Gundam, the Turn A Gundam. Nothing else in their retinue can do anything. The Zaku's can't beat a Wodam. The Zaku's can beat the anti-personnel tiny units, but that's it. And that's all they have. The Kapuls barely can fight those anti-personnel units. The militia loses. There's nothing the militia can do.
And at this stage, they haven't gone like... And they're still trying to pretend it's a real robot show at this stage. So you can't even pull the like, yeah, but we've got Turn A. And just like, yeah, you've got Turn A at the moment where it's not super impressive yet.
Yeah.
It's not like it's one thing to say like, we're going to lose this war, but there's Gao Gaigar.
Well, that's the thing. Because we've seen like the Turn A take... damage. Like there was one episode where it got bonked on the head and its mustache was heavily dented and it had a giant dent in the side of its head. I think it lost it's never lost an arm or anything that bad. But it's never
the thing is, it's taken superficial damage, but it's never taken like something like holy crap.
never critical. No, I would agree with that. But again, the Turn A has never really done anything either. I think that's the issue I also have with Turn A. Like, if you compare this and Wing, they're like, by this point in the show, there's been lots of action scenes that actually have significance in Wing. Like, a lot of soldiers die from Oz. Like, the five Gundams kill a lot of people. Like, there are significant action scenes, which are fairly interesting. Granted, some of that footage is reused multiple times in the future. Regardless of that, there's been significant, interesting action scenes. I don't think Turn A does action well at all. There's been no interesting action scene. And also, there was the Fallout episode of when the nuclear warheads had gone off, and Loran, Sochi, and her friend, those two in the Capuls, Loran in the Turn A, go to the crater and have their hatches open, and they go, oh, they're dead. They died. They died from cancer, radiation poisoning. They're dead.
They're fine.
And Loran's like, they're poking their heads out of the Capuls, like, because it's got this weird hatch thing. And Loran's like, don't get out of the cockpit, the radiation will get you. I'm like, that's not how radiation works. They've opened the cockpit, they're dead. They're dead.
No, Andy, they're still in the cockpit, it's fine.
That was the excuse. Loran has his entire cockpit open as well. It's like, you're dead. You're dead. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, he's not out of the cockpit.
Funnily enough, there were a few times where people opened the cockpit fully, like the two Zaku pilots who are trying to find Gavan, or whatever his name is, who go close again to the thing and open the cockpit and lean out, and I'm like, well, again, you're dead. I've seen Chernobyl. You're very dead. And not in a pleasant way. Less pleasant than usual. Again, I really don't like Sochi either. Sochi? You know who I mean? The little Ojo-san girl who's like the stereotypical tsundere. She's an awful person. No, she's not.
It's not that she's like tsundere can be fun. She's just mean.
Yeah, she is.
She's really viciously, but like she's viciously mean. Like tsundere is like, oh god, I'm so sick of you. What do you mean you're leaving? Like she's just like, I think you're shit. I think everything you do is crap. I think you're a coward.
Why don't you like
me?
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, I'll marry Gavan. What do you think about that, Loran? Oh, Gavan died? Whatever. She doesn't cry that Gavan's probably dead or whatever.
Oh, no, because she doesn't care.
No,
like,
I know.
I know. She is so unsympathetic, and it's like, I love a good sympathetic female lead. I especially love it when you don't make her a romantic interest, because that means you're actually trying.
Yeah,
but,
agreed, yeah.
I love a good sympathetic female lead, and I'm just like, but she's just awful as a human being.
There's like multiple times where she says stuff to Loran, and you're like, is the show meant to make me think that you're in the right here and Loran's in the wrong? Because it doesn't feel like it.
It's very strange.
And she slapped him multiple times. I'm like, bitch, you're the one that needs a slap. She's a terrible pilot as well. She's never won one engagement so far.
No, she has a Kapul, Andy. It's fine.
I know, this is the thing. It's like, oh, you're the famous Sochi of the Kapul. It's like, she hasn't won one combat.
No, she has a Kapul.
I know. It's like, oh my god. The show has a lot of issues. Like I say, I think there are a lot of interesting aspects about the show. But there's so many issues with just characters and how slow everything's going. And the things that you talked about, which is like they could have talked about the Turn A being only using 10% of its power, etc., etc. Like with episodes where Corin Nader and takes the Queen, trying to get her back to Soleil, and they go and stop off at a village, and the village is having a festival, and he goes fucking crazy because he sees a float of the Turn A Gundam. 90% of that episode is worthless. It doesn't do anything. Corin hasn't regained his memory.
It's just to bring in the word Gundam. That's the thing.
But we've already had that multiple times from previous.
Yeah, but now it's like he says Gundam, and everyone has like, oh, Gundam.
I think it's meant to bring a resolution to Corin, but there was no need to actually bring him back because they beat him in the fight, and he seems to have lost his memory, and now he's a wandering monk. And we see him, and we're like, oh, is he going to regain his memory? Seems like no, unless he pops in later in the show. He never gets his memory back. Well, I don't know. That could be wrong. You'd know better than I would, because you finished it. But yeah, he comes back. He's a monk. He stabs a parade float Gundam and then goes away. And it's like, okay, what was the point in all of this? And the point was to get the Queen back to Lieutenant Harry.
Gundam.
I will say at least Harry is not a Char clone, which is, his visuals kind of give him like.
Oh no,
he's meant
intended.
To be the Char clone.
He is absolutely intended to be. It's just he's
totally.
not.
No, yeah. He visually he is the Char clone, but from a character standpoint, he's a loyal soldier who seems to care. Again, an issue I have is we have this whole side thing of the moon race are wanting, or some aspects of the moon race want to overthrow Queen Diana and have had multiple attempts on her life. But it's episode 26, 27 at this point, and it's only lightly been talked about. Like, okay. We're not going to... That seems pretty important.
No, it's fine.
I'm sure we'll get there eventually, but yeah. Turn 8, it's got a lot of issues to it. Early Gundam writing issues of pacing, but also just bad stuff. I was thinking to myself, I think Zeta is a better written and better paced show, and it's much, much older, and it's done by the same guy, right?
Yes.
Like, things happen.
An interesting thing, this was done when he was on... Because Tomoe suffers from severe depression, and basically that's reflected in his shows, where he'll write one that's ultimately intended to be positive, and one that's usually followed by one that's supposed to be severely negative, and it's usually the negative ones are tying in with his downer phases and his... To simplify it, downer phases, and his positive ones are his upper phases, and Turn A was an up phase, and Zeta was a down phase for him.
That's weird.
And Double Zeta was an up phase, which is why Double Zeta is quite different.
Well, his wife told him to not be such a gloomy bitch as well. So.
That's true, which contributed. But, like, Victory is, like, supposed to have been, like, he was at one of his lowest ones where he was having homicidal thoughts, which
I don't think Victory was meant to be good, though, right?
Oh, no, it's not. But it's, it kills a huge number of people. And it does that because he was having homicidal thoughts, and this was his way of dealing with it, by murdering people.
Why did he decide to have, like, Uso as the ultimate Chad? Like, everybody wants to suck his cock, and all of the, like, extra pilots are female, and they all want to suck his dick.
That's probably turning into that as well.
Because, like, I haven't watched Victory, but I've seen bits and, the shortened down versions for Super Robot Wars, and I'm like, how many female pilots are there in the show? And how many of them want to suck Uso off, even though Uso is, like, 10 or something, or 12? I'm like, Jesus Christ, they all want his cock for some reason. I don't know why. It's to me, it's screaming Ada, and he's like, no, please, I will have the police arrest you. Go away. But yeah,
I will have you taken away.
Turn A, I'm gonna finish it. I think it's still an interesting show. I just don't think it, like, I know Iron Mouse says it's the best Gundam show. I'm like, no, it's not.
I think it's very Iron Mousey in how it's laid out.
Maybe you might be right there. I don't think it's the best.
She also likes Wizard the best.
Yeah, it's true.
She's not. I did like the video where she acknowledges that no one else likes it, and she said, "Fuck you, I love it." And I'm just like,
that's fine.
That's a very healthy attitude to have.
Yeah, it's a bad show. Well, it's not even bad. It's mediocre. It's bland. It's like a slice of toast. Yes, I remember. Yeah, it angers you specifically, but yeah, in terms of like if you want like the best Gundam show, Iron Blooded Orphans might be one of the best because it's not only well paced. Fairly interesting story. Season 1 and Season 2 are very different in terms of how they feel and how the characters go. The biggest downside, it focuses on the wrong character, which is it should all be about Orga rather than Mikazuki, because he's shit. Otherwise, I love G Gundam, but I wouldn't say it's the best Gundam show. I'd say it's one of the most fun.
It's the best Gundam show for us.
Yeah, because it's a super robot show. Yeah, and it's like, good.
But it's like also very much not a Gundam show. It just has the aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Zeta, I think, is a good show, but you have to struggle through Camille.
I think you have to struggle through early 80s pacing as well.
Yeah,
and it is really rough. It's not as rough as 79 OG Gundam, which is it's all the pacing problems of Zeta, but worse, and it's not nearly as interesting. I don't think. I think the movie compilations are good enough for the OG Gundam movie series.
Like, I really like Re-Rise, but I also know like it is incredibly easy to be turned off by the premise of Re-Rise and those first few episodes, which are more like Bill Divers.
I was going to say, I think the reason people would be put off by it is because they remember Bill Divers and they're like, no, I can't do it again. Which is a terrible show, which none of you should ever watch. Well, and if you want to be disappointed and you want to see something bland and generic and you don't want to think, I guess you can go with
if you want those moments where you just don't want to have that, where you're thinking logically and the show is not. If you want those moments,
you know what it is. It's it's a Naruto series or a Bleach. And I don't mean the good parts of those shows. I mean where it just got long and tedious. That's what rewrite. Yeah, sorry, that's what.
When would you
Bill
say
Davis
watch
is.
Seed?
Seed could be okay if you've not seen a Gundam show before and you can tolerate the really terrible human designs.
I hadn't seen a Gundam show before, and I just thought it was really poorly written.
I mean, it is.
And also had some really bad, incredibly cheap visuals, like making Gundam Wing look like it had a big budget cheap.
I wouldn't say it looked cheap, because it was like one of the first anime series to do digital art, so I wouldn't say it looked cheap. I'd say the character...
Let me put it this way. They may have been able to do digital art, they just couldn't do a lot of it. So the amount of something... Do you know what it reminded me of? Digimon. The first season of Digimon. We're just like, we can afford to make these designs. We just can't make them move. And we're going to drag this file across the screen and reuse as much footage as humanly possible.
Yeah. There are parts that do look very good, but yeah, like you say, there are parts which I guess they had to cheapen out on.
Well, I like that's one of the reasons they went for like, and everything will be guns at the end. Everything about the freedom is guns. Yeah, why? Because we can just use the same launch scene over and over again and put in like blast effects.
Yeah, agreed. Yes. Yeah.
It was a terrible show, and I hate its guts.
It's better than Destiny.
Lowish bar, but I still
you never watched Destiny, so
I mean, I love X. I think X is really fun.
X is really good.
I don't know how I'd ever recommend it to people as a starter.
No.
But I would recommend watching it. It's a great show.
Yeah, no, I don't think Gundam Wing is too bad of a Gundam show to start on.
Yeah, I find Gundam Wing it's a difficult one, because like Gundam Wing is the one that started it all off, but when I go back and watch it, I'm just like, wow, you can really see the seams where all the production nonsense came in.
Yes, agreed. Yes, but in terms of like its story, it can get a little bit difficult to follow the flow of the story sometimes, but I think it's not a bad like representation of Gundam, or like just go for Gundam 00, because that's like Wing but done better. I would say more coherently. Yeah, because you still haven't done 00 yet, have you?
No, haven't done Age, haven't done 00, haven't done...
I will say once again, Age, I really love the concept of Age, and I think the concept of Age is really cool. Yeah, I don't think its execution is great, though.
The idea, like, I love the aesthetic of Age, and I love the idea of Age.
Yeah, when you say the aesthetic, do you mean including the character designs? Because I'm not a big fan of the character designs.
They're just, like, generic, like, actually, they're a bit out of time. Like, they look like they're from early 2000s, like... We're doing like first series Fake Grand Order kind of designs.
To me, they look like. Do you remember the little?
Or not Fake Grand Order. Fake Grand Order looks amazing. Fate Say Night.
I would say the character designs in Age look like. Is it Dr. Schlump from the Tomoe, the guy that did Dragon Ball? Toriyama.
Yes. But yeah. I just think that looks like Dragon Ball.
You know, little squat and kind of very chubby and cartoony. Like that's how most of the Age characters come across to me. They look very like pinchable, like that.
Stop pinching animated characters' cheeks, Andy. It's not right.
You guts to. Apart from that, it's just been the ploughing up to Christmas, isn't it? So, yeah, nothing too interesting, I'm afraid. Watching wise, I guess it was just that. Oh, I finished the Inspectors. Super Robot Wars: The Inspectors. Did I talk about? I don't think I talked about that. Did I?
You said you'd watch the Super Robot Wars thing you didn't like, but then it led into something you did like.
Okay, kind of. Like the problem with Super Robot Wars: The Inspectors is it's visually a lot better. The problem is it's got like 4 or 5 different stories going on at the same time, and it feels like it arses around too much at the start. Like it sticks on one plot, which is fighting. Oh, fuck! What were they called? Is it fighting whatever the human force was called again, which is kind of a retread of what happened in the first show. So we do it again, and then we have like 5 or 6 stories going on all at the same time. There's no real focus on main characters. There are no real main characters in the show, and it is a show where you have to have seen the worst series, which is Divine Wars, which wasn't very good. You have to have seen that to have even a vague introduction to any of these characters, because they expect you to have seen it or to have played the video game and know who these characters are. And even then, they don't do a lot of like character development or anything like that. It's just more like really small moments here and there. you kind of come away from it being like, it was visually nice, but there were no hype moments because I wasn't invested in anything. Gao Gai Gar is a hype series because I got incredibly invested in all of the characters.
Yes, they're fantastic.
Yeah, and like when shit goes down and they're like dying, and you're like, oh god, we're never going to see these people again, but they're going to try their best to come back to our universe. Maybe one day they'll return. You're like, shit, this is emotional.
And then they did, and it did not go happily.
No, they're all infected by the Conquering King stuff. If that's the same in the Super Robot Wars game as it is in the Batman stuff, I don't know. But yeah, like I actually got a little bit like I could feel myself get a little bit teary-eyed when I was doing that level, and Guy came back. I was like, oh god, he's back. Why am I feeling emotional?
You're not even my guy. You're a spin-off alternate universe version of my guy. But
yeah, he's back. He returned, and he was so happy. He was like, oh shit, Mamoru, wow, you've grown up. Even though Mamoru looks like he's still only a baby. He's like, I'm 20. He's like, no, you're not. You look like you're 13 because of your character design. But never mind. Either way, yeah, that's it. That's all I've been up to. So, do you have any questions, Mikey? We've got one message, really, I can talk about.
Do not.
Okay, we got a message from Christoph last week saying, got hands on So I'm a Spider spin-off manga, and the Sonic comic I wholeheartedly recommend. It's only worthwhile if it's a Sonic comic from the UK.
Yeah, I want evil Supersonic, or else Supersonic is a failure as a human being.
Boom. And there's that weird shapeshifter thing, which was a girl,
yeah.
I think. I can't remember.
You remember the squirrel?
I do.
What was his name?
I didn't read the comic. I only looked at the pictures because I refused to read at that age, so I don't know what any of the stories were.
What was his name? Oh my god, I loved his design.
I know what it was. Tails.
The Super Nick or Techno something. This is gonna drive me nuts. UK Sonic Squirrel.
And I'll continue this then as you're looking. And speaking of comics, I hope IDW loses the Transformers license now, as the Beast Wars has just started getting somewhere new. Also in WandaVision, I thought that Agatha Harkness, that made those people say they were suffering to get the Vision to turn on Wanda. You'd need to answer this, Mikey.
I haven't seen WandaVision. There's no point asking me.
But in the end, with her reading the Marvel... Well, I don't think that was true, because I think people were suffering, because I know that unless Wanda told people to do stuff, people were stuck in their houses, stuck in one room, not able to do anything.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Wanda did make those suffer. So
you'd know way more about WandaVision than I would, because you've probably looked into it.
I've watched people do the reviews and say it was shit. So.
Yeah, I haven't even done that. I've seen a picture of Vision and he was white.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. But then it ends with her reading the Marvel brand Necronomicon, the Darkhold, and clearly being up to no good. I guess that's Agatha, he means. Guess they wanted their cake, but to eat it too. Also, the Darkhold Iron Man one-shot is worth a peek if you want to read some good body horror, Andy. I'm afraid I've zero interest in reading any Marvel or DC comics at this point. I've been incredible because of how comics are at the moment. I've just been incredibly put off by them. I've no interest in reading comics really at the moment. Until we have to do a comic show, then obviously I'll read a comic.
I will force Andy to engage with media.
Yes, even if I don't want to. The only one I'm happy to read is Immortal Hulk, and as we know, there is stuff in there which make me roll my eyes every now and again. So
yeah. Even
that's got it in. There was a message from Tenemon saying, man, I'm so far behind on the Super Robot Wars streams. Don't worry about it. They're on YouTube. They'll always be there until I get taken down for saying something horrible, I suppose. Busy with all the holiday stuff, but never mind that. I want to shoot the shit. I was wondering where that was going. About X-Men some more. Like how the Inferno I joked about last time is the titular title of the new series that could end the Krakow, K-R-A...
Oh, the Krakoa.
Oh, Krakoa. Okay, the Krakoa era. And throw back to when Madeline Goblin Queen Pryor turned New York into a hellscape.
Okay, that's going deeper into X-Men
fiction
than I would remember. Goblin Queen I know of, but if I remember right, she was when... Was she post One More Day? Let me see.
Maybe. I'll keep reading.
Madeline Pryor is a clone of Jean Grey. I remember that.
There you go.
So
Okay.
when was she Goblin Queen? She's like evil Jean Grey.
Well, more evil.
Okay, this is a different kind of goblin. I'm thinking of a different Goblin Queen.
She's sexy.
Is
she dressed up like David Bowie?
No, I remember why Madeline Pryor was so controversial for a few years. But, yeah. So, if you... she basically looks like she's escaping from a Lady Death comic.
Yeah.
Jesus, some of this art.
I'll continue on with
no
message.
one's looking in this room right now.
Now that was one hell of a storyline. Was it about the storyline, Tendermon? Wonder if we'll see it in a new show, or is it a bit much? Well, from Mikey's reaction, I'm guessing it might be a bit much.
Jesus Christ. This is all official art too. Jesus Christ.
Hope they at least upgrade
I am not
Ilya.
easily made to blink with comic art, but Jesus Christ.
Hopefully, at least the upgrade to Lilia Rasputin from Colossus's sweet little sister to Magicka, the new badass sorceress supreme of Limbo. Speaking of badass women, the new Red Queen you called a villain is Kate. I'm too old to be called Kitty anymore. Pride. Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Who became a pirate captain that smuggles aid in and out of mutant-hating countries while wearing a fab coat. Also,
I kind of love that.
The King in Black Marauders tie-in, she got Karoka, or whatever you said it was called, to take human refugees, and for all the problematic baggage, it is fun seeing the X-Men baddies play politics with another one, now I Sleep T4. There you go. What do you think of that, Mikey? Because this just felt like I was reading Absolute Insanity.
I mean, I like Absolute Insanity, but I do like the idea of Kitty Pryde as a.
I'll give you a better explanation. It feels like what I imagine our listeners are when we talk about HoloLive. And they just sit there, go, "What the fuck are they talking about? What's a Corone? What's a Biko? What's a Nyahalo?"
Nyahalo.
Exactly.
I mean, let's accept that X-Men has changed somewhat, and doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
That's about as far as I wanted to go, really.
All right. That's fair. Okay.
And if anyone tells me it does, you're lying to yourself.
I can't say. I've got nothing. Oh wow, yeah, she has an outfit, that Madeline.
Yep.
Under booba. Oh my god, booba, as Guru would say. Wow. Yeah, she's clearly the what do they call it?
She was made for intellectual reasons,
Andy. I was thinking she looks like she's from the Hellfire Club. Like, that's kind of the outfits I imagine most of the Hellfire Club.
Well, I think she was a Red Queen in the Hellfire Club, if I remember my 90s stuff.
That outfit would explain it then, yeah.
But I suspect that the outfit is disconnected, because I think she's more magic-based.
You were 100% right saying she looks like Lady Death, though. That is 100% a Lady Death outfit, or lack thereof outfit, I suppose. Wow.
But call. I think she's more magic-based than Jean is.
Probably, yeah, sure, why not? Mikey, where can people find you on the internet, unless you've got anything else to talk about?
Nope. You can find me on Twitter as Irish Pillow, and you can contact us on Moonbase2 at Twitter and at moonbase2 at gmail.com, and on Facebook and Libsyn and Patreon and everywhere else. We love to hear from you.
You can find me on YouTube as Decayed Andy, on Twitter as Decayed Andy. You can find this podcast on the Moonbase 2 YouTube page, which is Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. And then just, go everywhere for Moonbase 2. And if you head over to patreon.com and do $2 each month, you get the extended version of From the Files of Teletron 2 and the Moonbase Woo Woo. So there should be a Christmas-themed one up at some point this month. I was meant to do it yesterday when I saw my buddy, but we had some issues, so I couldn't do it then. So it'll be coming out hopefully after Christmas is the plan.
Bleeding Cool, just because Madeline Pryor is now absorbing my internet. Bleeding Cool in 2015. Marvel Comics covers up Madeline Pryor's underboob in Secret Wars Inferno.
Lame. Let the boob
they did
be
a
free.
very long. They did a long article on this and were very upset.
Free the boob. Free the boob.
Freed the underboob.
Exactly.
I'm just going to say, what they did was basically cover her top in leather, and it did not make it look any less shameful. So I just thought, Bleeding Cool. What? Jesus Christ. best.
I would argue they're not very cool, but, you know.
They are not. They are bleeding awful.
Oh.
There it is. New name, bleeding awful.
Damn, son.
I don't care if they were right about the IDW stuff. They're still shit.
Until, actually, it's probably worth saying that we might not be back for the rest of the year, because obviously the next time would be the, Boxing Day, so we're not really going to record then. And I will only force Mikey to do a podcast with me on the 2nd if there's actually something worth talking about, which I don't think there will be, in all honesty. Until then, it'll probably be the 9th is when we'll record next.
This might be the longest break we've ever taken.
Maybe, yeah, just because of how it worked out. But I thought it was worth mentioning it now, just because it's like there'll be no point really doing a show, because I know I'm not going to get a lot for Christmas to talk about. I don't know about you, Mikey, but
I get the gift of friendship.
Wow, that's a shit gift, I'll be honest. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys in the new year. Hope you don't mind us taking a break. There will be the Moonbase Woo Woo at some point. Depending on Mikey, we might be able to do a comic show. I don't know.
Yep, I'll try and free up some time.
So we'll be able to get that done at the very least. So you'll have that to look forward to. Until then, I suppose for the show, we'll probably see you in the new year at the very least.
Take care, Kiddlywinks.
Goodbye, people.